Yo, yo, yo. Mic check, mic check. Push one in the chat if you can hear me. I'm seeing some ones in the chat. That is good. That is good. Perfect, perfect, perfect. All right, let me get one more thing together and we about to get the ball rolling. All right, that's good. The audio should okay. Yep, that's definitely good. All right. All right. Been away for a while. Was on another vacation. I gotta quit all that vacation and shit. I'm through with that for a minute. But hey, welcome back, everybody. Well, should be welcoming myself back. But welcome. Y'all ain't been here in a minute, so I'm welcoming everybody back. Haven't done this show in a while. Took a little time off. Had to get a few things. Had to do some R&R. But it's been great. It's been wonderful. Thank you for everybody in the building. Make sure you hit the like button whether you're catching it right now or as you're catching it after it's uploaded. Make sure you hit that like button. Let's get ready to go. Let's get it.
Peace, folks. This is X from TPOT Media. Open your mind and wake your black ass up. You know what time it is. Hit that damn like button as you make your way in the door. Grab a seat, settle in, get ready. It's the Grown Man Hour with your host, my man, Bernard Riley.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Mumia Obsidian Ali. You know who I am. I need no introduction, right? And you're listening to the Grown Man Hour with my man Bernard Riley, heard weekdays right here on YouTube. What do you think about that? How about that? Now let's get back on with the show. Thank you.
All right. All right. Let's go. Let's go. Shout out to the early bird squad. Those that make it in bright and early, dropping comments, hopefully likes. hopefully likes before we even get things started. Thank you to all of you in the building. Thank you to all of you in the building. Shout out to who came through here first. Black Light Podcast with Thon Lexi. Everybody mad at Kwame, shaking my head. Talk to Bernard. I don't really understand that comment. I don't exactly think everybody is mad at Kwame, even though I probably haven't heard everybody's reaction. I know this thing has been a little ongoing with him and the brother Hassan Campbell, who I knew very little about prior to all of this. I heard the name before, but didn't know particularly a whole lot about them. And there's only one aspect of their interaction that I'm going to be focusing on here. Only one aspect of it that I'm going to be focusing on because it's so chopped up, jumbled up, and all over the place. So much going on there to where you drive yourself crazy trying to break down every aspect of it. But it is one aspect that jumped out of their initial conversation that they had. It's one aspect that jumped out that I'm going to get into and want to talk about. Shout out to Edward Anderson. Says, yeah, this is most likely going to Patreon because he's anticipating people going to be arguing intensely over thug culture. It shouldn't be arguments that intense over that, but I do anticipate it happening. It can happen. It can happen. But I don't know. I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. Sincere cracking up. This is going to be interesting. Well, this is going to be, I think it means an interesting live. These two different type of guys. Hope he open up StreamYard after giving his commentary. More than likely will. More than likely will. Shout out to Logan JJ. Almost got 100 people in here. Make sure y'all hit the like button and let me pull it up on my tablet. We about to get this thing going, about to get it started. Shout out to the Hood Conservative. Says Monty Woodgrain is roasting this shit on my son right now. KD in the building says one thing that's annoying about this channel is when he stops and reads super chats. I told myself I was never going to be that guy who says, well, don't listen. Ugh. Some of y'all have pushed me to that point where I'm going to be like, if you don't like it, damn it, don't listen. I try not to do that. I try not to be that guy. But if you don't understand the concept of a smaller channel getting the amount of financial contributions that mine gets, yes, I'm going to acknowledge the people, and their comments will quite often become part of the show. That's kind of how it works here. It's a little interactive, but if you're not into that, then that's fine. That's fine. This may not be the show for you. And that is perfectly fine. That is perfectly fine. Got 100 people in here. Thank y'all for dropping those ones in the chat. Yeah, Goshen. Haha, don't listen. Yeah, I try to stay away from that. I hate I don't hate it, but it's just not my style. You know, when YouTubers, when they just constantly going on some why you here, get the hell out of here, you don't like it, don't listen, but it's a very true statement. I just try not to do that to people. I really do try not to do that to people. But some people is just everybody in the manosphere. Most people in the manosphere read the super chats. Exactly. Red says, how the fuck you come to somebody else's channel and tell them how to conduct their channel when they can start your own? Oh, because nobody will listen. Nobody will listen. Interesting points there. But let me get into it. I yeah, I was in Florida. I got back on Friday, but I didn't do nothing on the weekend. I was still chilling, still in vacation mode. Still in vacation mode even after I got back. So so I took some time off. Now I'm getting back into the swing of things. Getting back into the swing of things here. I was actually working on a pre-recorded video, going to be getting back into some more of those. So I was actually working on that yesterday, but was still in vacation mode. But we about to get into this. Something interesting came up in this conversation, something that's really a flashpoint of what quite often gets talked about in the manosphere. If you follow the manosphere, know something about the manosphere. You know, we had something called the Pookie and Ray Ray versus Educated Lame debate. I've long said that I had my problems and my issues with it. It was framed in a way that just made it too easy for people to go all over the place and straw man it. And that happens. That gets conversations more views, clicks when people go to the moon with their commentary on it. But what was embedded in that discussion that the manosphere started, even though some could argue otherwise, but what was embedded in that discussion is the notion that black people, not just black women, but black people cling on to the thug culture. Not just talking about somebody who just has a street aesthetic, that's kind of where they from, but they've made something of themselves. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not gonna criticize somebody from that. They came from there. That's how they was dressing when they was there. They made something of themselves. They still got the tattoos. They haven't, you know, but they've gotten themselves together one way or another. The problem that I have is the double talk. We're gonna see an immense amount of double talk or just being double minded with it. And Kwame Brown made some really good points in this discussion. In like true to form fashion, I don't have this set exactly on the spot where I want it to be set. So we're going to watch a little bit leading into it. I'm going to try to get past a lot of the pointless bickering. I just want to get to the part that I want to highlight and the part that I want to talk about. I had it time stamped, but they pretty much got right into it. And I'll say fair use for the YouTube algorithm, but Kwame Brown let everybody use his stuff. So shout out to Kwame Brown for that. And every time I start really liking Kwame Brown commentary, I just found out he's still saying that mama son stuff. I really wish he would quit saying that. I really wish he would quit referring to grown ass black men as mama sons. I really wish he would stop doing that. But like I always say, there's no perfect advocate out there. He says a lot of good things. He says a lot of good things, and he says a lot of things that we side eye in the manosphere. But the good, I think the juice is worth the squeeze. The good outweighs the bad with Kwame Brown, and there are no perfect advocates. So, I'm good. I'm good with him. But I do want to point that out. He did play a clip when he was talking about mama sons. He need to drop the mama sons rhetoric. That just it does not make black men look good when you're trying to talk about strongness of black men and getting it together, but our identity is attached to mama. He also made a comment. He said something along the lines of, women thinking that thugs are the are the best black men. And he said the women can't build nothing because they sending their money to put on the books of Pookie and them. I'm like, the women can't build. So there's some things where he ain't missing the mark, where he misses the mark. But he does say some good things. He does say some good things. But let me go in and roll some of this beautiful, well, not so beautiful bean footage. But shout out to Kwame. I like what he doing. I like that when he did respond to, as he calls it, the go along, get along gang. I love that when they just tried to do a smear campaign to get everybody to just look at him as just a scum. I love that how when they did that, I loved it how when they did that, his voice hit back harder to where everybody turned against the people that had the essentially mainstream platforms. And then when those people with mainstream platforms talk about him, their videos, their views, they're getting more thumbs down than thumbs up. So I love the fact that somebody just can turn on their YouTube, turn on their camera, and beat the mainstream in terms of views, in terms of likes, in terms of support from the audience. It's an indicator to me that people are not as much sheeps as we think they are. But then there's the potential problem that, okay, they stop being sheeps for them, they're going to go be sheeps for somebody else. There is the factor of that. There's always that possibility. However, I do dig the way that he won that media war. I do dig the way that he won that media war. That was amazing. That was awesome. So I always salute him for that. That was a huge win. That was a huge win. But anyway, let's roll it. Bear with me through some of the part because that's true to form. I don't got the exact timestamp. I always botch it and forget to do that. So we're gonna have to get through a little bit of their bickering until we get to the part that I want to talk about. Because I didn't care for the bickering.
See whether you was a credible dude, what your fight was. Later on, I seen the Judge Joe Brown joint, which I thought was dope, or whatever the case may be. But just to give you who I am, when it comes to anybody that comes from Hollywood, the music industry, any of that, I look at everybody sideways. So I prejudged you according to that. But as far as who you are and what you're doing right now, your message, some of the things that I've caught up on and I listen to, I respect your message as a man.
But sir, you didn't say that about 30, 40 minutes ago.
What I said was not said 30, 40 minutes ago. What I said was a response to the indirect that what you said about me on earlier today.
But listen, bro, you've said something about me indirectly in 3, maybe 4. Even when you spoke about me the first time, when somebody asked you, what do you think about Kwame Brown? You said, I like him, but, and then you went on to talk about all this stuff. And even today, you talked about an oath. And I'm telling you that anytime you go to prison, you sign an oath. You sign an oath to be a slave for white boys. And that mentality that you're preaching and you going back to the hood as a married man with jewelry and chains on, are you prepared to kill someone? Because that's what you would have to do to be in the hood by yourself. So to speak the way that you're speaking, how old are you, sir?
44.
You're 44 years old with children, beautiful children, may I add.
Thank you.
I've seen you put them on the internet. You have a wife. You have a beautiful yard with flowers and dogs, which you should be enjoying. But you steady going back to the hood to prove what? What you would have to do to protect those chains and to protect the thing, to brag about being in the hood. If somebody approached you, you would have to kill that person or hurt that person. Is that correct?
That right there is why I like Kwame Brown. Now, some of y'all may possibly potentially Agree or disagree with that statement, with that analysis. Some that may be the case. Some of y'all may potentially disagree with that analysis. However, when I talk about thug culture and people glorifying it, when somebody becomes successful, and look, I can understand certain clothes. We're not talking about fabric. I had to shut that down on my show the other day. That we're not about to be sitting there categorizing black men based off clothes they wear and fabric and this or that or blah blah blah. We're not about to do that. Even though I understand, yes, we are technically supposed to judge. Everybody judges. You prejudge people all the time based off when you see them, how they look. You see a woman dressed skanky, you're probably going to talk to her like a skank. You see a woman dressed conservatively, you're probably going to talk to her in a more conservative way, and then talk to her a little skank like you skank later when you warm her up. But the moral of the story is that yes, the way you look, the way you dress matters. But Kwame Brown is really driving it home to where if somebody goes to the hood, they made it out the hood. They're successful. Well, he said he still lives in the hood. But if somebody is successful, but they're still walking around with the street aesthetic, and they're doing it to the point to where they're gonna walk right through the hood. They're gonna be still going back to the hood, draped in all the gold chains, all the accessories, all the stuff to draw all that attention to make them a target. They care about black people. They know what go on in the hood. They know I'm in the hood. They know how niggas in the hood be nigga in. They know all of this stuff. But they're gonna go amongst all of that, still draped in all the jewelry and all the gold chains, everything, trying to stunt and floss to have status for the hood, even though you went and built some real status where you're making real money and you're taking care of your real family and your real responsibilities. But I gotta look a certain way for the hood, for the black people that I care about, draw attention and make me a target that's gonna put me in a situation where now I'm going to have to defend this stuff. I'm going to have to defend my gold chains that I put on to draw attention. I'm going to have to defend it. Successful black men shouldn't be operating in that way. I had Michael Varner. You have to know he made the Division 6 comic book that I'm dragging my feet and promoting and making. Going to be doing some more promotion on that when I finally get my editing game and start get on that. I've been slacking. However, here's the deal. Michael Varner came on the show just recently. Works in corporate America, and yeah, he got tattoos and all kind of stuff. He pointed out all of that he in many ways still has the aesthetic, but he understands how to move in that corporate world. But I think he does also understand you don't go to the hood looking like a target either. You don't go to the hood looking like a target. And that's why I love the point that Kwame Brown pointed out. I love the point that he pointed out is like, you got a wife, you got kids, you got a home, you got all of this going for you. That's good. That means something. Not just in the superficial sense. Not just I can go work for some corporate America. I can go work a corporate America job and stand tall around white men. Not that superficial stuff. No, I mean when you've accomplished something and you got something to lose, You need to be conducting yourself in a way like you don't want to lose it. You need to be conducting yourself in a way like you don't want to risk it. But brothers, in the name of keeping it real, will still go and move in those circles, will still go and be around that stuff. I remember when Ice Cube tried to stay in the hood. When Ice Cube tried to stay in the hood, he realized that I can't stay in the hood. They're gonna rob me. Even if he kept a low profile and just wasn't wearing walking around in gold chains everywhere, he understood that, okay, he tried to stay in the hood. They know Ice Cube, they know he got money. They're gonna rob him. He had to move up out of the hood. And that springboards back to a conversation I was having with Lil Big Nate. Go check out that conversation. That was a show where I streamed. I was in Florida while I was streaming. So I was in the so it was pretty cool. It was pretty nice. Yeah, showed y'all a little shot of the Atlantic Ocean. But yeah, goes back to the conversation that me and Lil Big Nate was having, where I said those who are black, who make it successful, they want to keep their blackness. They want to maintain their blackness. They want to be amongst black people. And that's why I asked Lil Big Nate an important question. I said, do we need to, when we become a certain amount of successful, and I'm not even talking about great high up success in the millions, I'm just talking about the black people who got their head on straight, who worked hard, and they in a place where they don't have to live in the hood. Is it important for those black people to still live amongst black people? And by live amongst black people, I'm not talking about live amongst the hood and the street ninjas. No, I'm talking about the black people that put their head on straight, that actually did something for themselves, that made it somewhere. Is it still important for them to coalesce amongst each other? Because if all the black people with their head on straight that actually made something of themselves, if all of them just end up sprinkled around throughout, white communities, white neighborhoods, or whatever, if they just end up sprinkled around all over the place, then it's a situation where there's no defined black community. There's no defined black community where we can look at a black community that's doing good. We know that there's a middle class white community, an upper middle class white community, and an upper class white community, and then there's their ghetto trash, their trailers, they're this, they're that. But when black people who become successful become middle, or upper class, they just all separated and sprinkled all over the place. The only thing that we can look at and define as black is the hood. Is the crime ridden places where all the negative stuff that we talk about go down. And then you listen to the rap music and they glorify that, and then that's the image. That's our image. That's the only thing that's black, is the hood. And then that's the reason why when people want to keep their blackness when they become successful, they feel like they gotta operate in some type of way, like we just saw Hassan Campbell doing constantly. I gotta, you gotta always talk about my camera tripping. I'm gonna have to fix that. I'm gonna have to get up and fix that eventually. He always talking about how, no, he ain't like me. I've been to prison. I went to jail. I did this. I did. It's like it's like you're only qualified to talk about blackness if you've been through the struggle. You're only qualified to talk about blackness if you're not just been through the struggle, but you have to currently look the part, talk the part, walk the part, and even no matter how far away you get from that, you still have to constantly remind everybody about your past. You just can't just be comfortable in your own skin when you're black. Like, yeah, I'm black. I'm from the hood. I made it successful. Just like there's statistically a lot of white people started out poor, worked hard, went to school, picked up a trade, started a business, whatever, worked their way to middle class, worked their way to upper middle class, and they there. They don't have to constantly talk about the trailer. They don't have to. They don't have to. They don't have to put on a they don't. They don't got to put on the wife beater and look like fucking Billy Ray and Jim Bob, and then criticize white people who don't look like that. It's ridiculous how we bend over backwards to conform to that. Yes, it's a part of who he is and what we is, but even at the expense of losing something valuable, even at the expense of losing something valuable, it's about the hood. Where other groups, it's more of a merit system, a meritocracy. Every white person don't get to live, on the every white person don't get to live on the coast somewhere. I saw a little bit of that when I was in Florida. I was paying attention to the difference between the people who was on vacation out there versus the people who lived across the Atlantic Ocean. Every white person don't get to live out there. Those that get to live out there, those are the ones that made it to that level. They made it to that level, they get to live there. I'm sorry, I'm reading comments. I am reading comments. I can't help it. throwing off my mojo in what I'm trying to say here. And I still ain't pulled it up on YouTube. Give me 1 minute. Give me 1 minute. But damn, we got 415. $415. Actually, I just dropped to 405 when I had some dead air. It just says I want a participation trophy. Yeah, dudes be really on that. Got to pull whatever little struggle, whatever little hood upbringing that they had. And look, it's a reality of being black in America. Most of us come from the hood to some degree, or hood adjacent at some level. That's most of us. That is most of us. But even when becoming successful, you have to cling on to it. You have to constantly reference back to it. Now, it's one thing to have a mentality of, I want to help it. I get that. And shout out to Ramil, because me and him are like-minded in the sense that we think there's no exact way of saving it in the way that people think, for two reasons. One, when people become successful, they just naturally move away from it. That's damn near natural, because when you get to the point where you could afford a nicer house, you're going to buy a nicer house. Now, there are upper middle class and definitely a lot of good middle class or upper middle class black communities that's sprinkled all over. But like I said, we normally end up sprinkled around in various white communities. That's normally what we end up doing. So there's never a black community of black people who got their head on straight, who doing good, who, building shit, running businesses, making money, hiring other black people. We don't get to see that black success like that. We talk so much about Black Wall Street, but and all of that. But there's enough black businesses but black people so scattered all over the place. The successful black people scattered all over the place to where it's not together in one community, and it probably won't never exactly be that. So, like I said, the thing that we have that we can look at, that we can cling on to, that we can hold on to, ultimately is the hood. And we could do that at our peril sometimes. We could do that at our peril. I listen to a lot of Jay-Z. I quote Jay-Z a lot. And you'll notice that. I quote Jay-Z a lot. Brother Bernard, shout out to the pioneer. Brother Bernard is correct. That is true. That too much black success is sprinkled around, diluted. We need to concentrate black wealth by having at least a neighborhood in every major city. Yeah. Yeah. I agree. It do need to be it don't need to be in just one place. But you said it exactly right. In every major city, yes, there should be a growing black demographic where we can see the black race, the black people who are black who got their head on straight, who are successful, going in these areas. We see that with other groups where they have their own little area where, hey, that's where they at. They didn't, by law, by fiat, they didn't conquer nobody. They just, when a house became for sale, somebody bought it. Another house came for sale, somebody bought it. This business, it was an opening there, that business closed down, somebody jumped in. You know, that's, and then just gradually over time, other people started to see, oh, it's a lot of Asians, there's a lot of Jewish people in here, a lot of Italians in here, there's a lot of this, a lot of that, and then so gradually everybody else just started moving out to where they kind of just took over that little area. Yeah, black people do, when they get successful, they do need to think about it in terms of that. And I talked about how it sort of de facto kind of happened in my neighborhood. Well, not in my neighborhood, well, adjacent to my neighborhood. I live a little ways away from the area where that sort of happened, where when I first started going to this, when I would go, this seems like a long time ago, back when I used to go jogging regularly, but when I used to go jogging and I would take my kids trick-or-treating in this place, that was neighborhood that was kind of adjacent, like I could jog to it, but it wasn't exactly my neighborhood. You know, it was a little ways away. And I noticed it was mostly white people living there, and the houses were pretty nice. And I gradually noticed over time, the last time I took my kids trick-or-treating in that neighborhood, that it was like 65% black. Black people gradually moving in, white people gradually moving out. That's an example of how black people will take over a nice area. But like I said, it's a merit system. It's a meritocracy. You have to achieve something to get there. But because we don't got enough places like that where you can achieve something to get there and still be black and hang on to your blackness and be proud and be black and live amongst your people, but your people who have made something of themselves like you, versus you still trying to, no, I got to cling on to all this problematic stuff that I worked hard to get away from. That's what we do. And Goshen says, Gabe A made a good point. What the hell? Let me go and find that. Gabe A says, based upon what I hear in these chat rooms, I wouldn't want to live next door to most of y'all, respectfully. I agree with that. Yeah, that's a good point. I rock with you on that, Gabe A. I mean, it's a chat room. It's a chat room. Firefly 69 or Thunderfoot 69. That's who's in the chat room. Nameless, faceless avatars that say crazy stuff. Nameless faceless avatars that say crazy stuff. Of course. But I do think, Gabe, you would have to agree to some degree, to give or take the channel, most of the content creators and a lot of the panel members are people you wouldn't mind living next to. Maybe. Some people be wilding. But no, I'm more or less I'm with you, Gabe. Hey, and that's something that a lot of successful black people be on. We don't like the nigga shit. I get that. but we're so prone, so drawn to cling to it at all cost. At all costs, we got to cling to it. But I love how Kwame Brown just put it right in his lap, where he said, okay, you successful, you got a family, you got a house, you got a wife, you got a kids, you're damn near 50, but you're still walking through the hood in gold chains, draped in gold chains, but you're pro-black, you care about black people. What you prepared to do when somebody roll up on you trying to take one of them chains? What you trying to do? And he said that, yeah, he's gonna defend himself. Okay, so you still operate, even though you've superseded and got past all of that, you still operating in that way that's gonna draw you back into it. It's gonna potentially draw you back into pulling out your gun and shooting a black person. Gabe said no, most of the panel members and content creators are the ones I wouldn't want to be a neighbor of mine. Well, Gabe, I would gladly welcome you as a neighbor of mine. Hopefully I'm not in the you don't want me as a neighbor category. Hopefully not. Because even though I think you're I don't know what to call you, Gabe. You do purport and seem to be a decent human being who says, stuff I disagree with here and there. But shout out to Snuggles in the building. Snuggles 668.
Hi, I'm Snuggle. Snuggly softness. That's really less expensive.
Shout out to Snuggles. Says, I agree with you. I hate nameless, faceless avatars that says crazy. Okay. That are you holding up a mirror, looking deep into your own eyes when you said that? Shout out to Snuggles. And shout out to CJNBM in the building. Some feel guilty for leaving. Yep, we talked about that on this show before. We talked about that survivor's guilt, survivor's remorse. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, that is a thing. Some feel guilty for leaving the hood because so many family members didn't. Yep, black people, we can't be thinking like that. I was talking about Ramil before. Me and Ramil are like-minded on this, that yes, the successful black people, it ain't about going and saving the community. It's about you've become successful, you run a business, you create jobs, you employ your people. That's how everybody else operates. Most people are worker bees, but the successful among us should be employing the working class among us. That is typically how it works. That is typically how it works. But like I always said, our business class in Black America, we are basically content. The people who would be our business class in Black America are content working with working for, I should say, making $150,000, $200,000 working for larger white companies, making good money, no doubt, good money that affords them the ability to live in a really nice house in a really nice white neighborhood. The area where we get it wrong is that we actually think that no, that black person needs to be with black people and build a, fix the bad part of the community, but that part ain't gonna get fixed. Those that make it out need to make it out, but those that make it out should be operating together. But those that make it out, if you're successful and you got the business acumen to go and make money working for white people, you got the business acumen to go and make money to start a business, employ your people. You got the business acumen to do that. Your cousin that you spent summers with didn't make it. That's why. Right on. I agree with you on that statement. We're very socialist. We think everybody's supposed to be equal. It's supposed to be equal playing field. When we talk about saving the community, we talk about raising everybody to the same level. It will never be that. It's not like that with any other community. So even the people who talk about saving the community, whatever that means, they get it wrong because they talking about it from a socialist perspective in a capitalist country. It's not going to work. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. And I gotta shout out SKC. I don't know how this came about, but I made a little special greeting. Yeah, I like what I did with Snuggles. I made a little special greeting when Black Wolf super chat. And I don't know how this came about between SKC and Black Wolf, but SKC got in the lab with a pen and a pad trying to get the damn label off, and he made this. I can't take credit. It's so awesome. I can't take credit for it. So I had to shout out SKC. But Black Wolf Inc. came through with the super chat. Shout out to Black Wolf. That is like the coolest thing ever. Right there. That is like the coolest thing ever. Shout out to Black Wolf. I'm gonna roll some more of this, even though they talked about the main part. They talked about the main part that I did want to discuss. I'm gonna roll a little bit more of it. Because like I said, they went so many rounds and so much stuff that I can't get into all of it. But I did want to just talk about that part right there. The glorification and clinging on to thug culture and all of that. I did want to talk about that. I do think that Black people can maintain Blackness while being successful without thinking that they have to be attached to the hood in the way that it seems as if he wants to do it.
I don't see your point.
The point is, why would you put yourself at risk when you have a family to brag like that about being in the hood? If somebody saw you online and ran up on you and you do something to them, you would be going to prison, leaving your wife and your children. Why would you go to the hood when you got nice flowers like that? And
first of all, for one, I live in the hood. For two, I have family in the hood. For three, God made this earth spacious enough for me to travel through wherever I decide to go. So whether you have jewelry on or you just traveling and you have a glow to you as a person, sometimes when I travel, just like when you travel, some people may recognize you, they may not. I'm not going to stop going to the hood based off of what somebody feel about me. That's not going to happen. That's for one. For two, I don't have a point to prove to anybody, but at the same time, I'm going to defend myself if I have to. But I mean, the reality of it is this conversation shouldn't really be based on whether I'm going back to the hood or not.
But it's the way that you're going to the hood, though. You're going to the hood with chains on. You go to the hood saying, yeah, I can go to my hood. I can do this. I can do that. That's braggadocious.
There's nothing wrong with being a little loud, a little braggadocious about what you've accomplished. But I think Kwame makes a real good point about yeah, you can go back to the hood, but it's how you're going back to the hood. You're going back to the hood just to look like the biggest thug in the hood. If you're going back just to get draped in gold chains and just be seen, if you made it successful from not selling drugs, why you want to go back to the hood to look like a drug dealer? You should be going back to the hood, if anything, starting a business, employing some people. Like if anything, why you? So yeah, I can go back to the hood. I got family. I got people in the hood. I can go back to the hood, but I got to go back looking. I got to go back to outshine the drug dealer to show my gold chains are bigger than the drug dealers. Like that's what he like. Come on. I saw somebody else. Well, shout out to Black Wolf. Shout out to Black Wolf once again. Just dropped another super chat on me, another $5. Shout out to Snuggles in the building once again. She said, forget that, let that. What does that? That look like a little dog, wolf, puppy come through the screen. Oh no, that's a bear. I'll let that bear come through the screen and slap the shit out of that puppy. Now play my song. I ain't playing it because you said now play my song. You don't tell me what to do, woman. Better calm your ass down. Don't play that shit.
Hi, I'm Snug.
Yep. You see, I only played 2 seconds of it. You super chatted, so I had to play it. I only played 2 seconds of it. All right. All right. But no, it's good points in there when successful people. I've always been annoyed by that. I've always been annoyed by that when I worked at the plant. I was working at a plant. We doing blue collar work. We doing blue collar work. You're making your money. Some blue collar gigs, yeah, they pay pretty good. One dude, he riding a big ass truck, big ass Tahoe, candy paint, 24-inch rims, all kind of chrome, added chrome accessories everywhere, all through the outside. This and that is like, dude, you picked up a trade and you working this hard to ride around and look like a drug dealer. Like you just can't like, I mean, you can technically just go buy a nice car. Now, I'm not saying you can't have nice stuff, but if the nice thing that you find nice is the stuff that people use as a status symbol in the hood to basically say that I'm the dude who getting his money out the streets, why would you want to wear that status symbol if that's not how you getting your money? You're getting your money a different way now. So why do you want to look like you getting it the illegal way? You're getting your money legally now. Why do you want to look like you getting it illegally? Why? Shout out to the Rod of God podcast. Says they go back to the hood because it is the only place where their money is impressive. It may be some truth in that, but there are some, no, you see, there's some people who are successful who from the hood and they make it. I mean, if you're making $150,000, that's impressive in a lot of circles. Now, if you hanging around people who make $500,000 a year, then yeah, their little money ain't nothing. But so the truth in what you're saying is that even if they're making 150 to 200,000 a year, but they're amongst their peers that are making that 150 to $200,000 a year, they're just another guy. So they want to go back to the hood and stunt and floss. But you can go back to the hood, stunt and floss, but you don't got to go back in. I'm trying to get negative attention, not just from the cops, but I'm about to get negative attention from niggas that's about to have me caught up in some stuff. Or like Kwame Brown said, you're going to end up in a situation where you're going to have to defend all them gold chains that you going back into the, you got $50,000 worth of jewelry hanging from your neck and your arms and your wrists and all of that. You're rocking $50,000 worth of jewelry. And you going back to the ghetto part of the ghetto dressed like that for what? Knowing that you got a family to take care of, some sons that you need to be alive for, that you need to have your freedom to take care of. You're going to do that? That's where it gets goofy, but that's where you have a good point. Their contemporaries' money long too is purely flex. Yeah. So no, we in agreement. I agree with your statement. I definitely agree with your statement. My man Game Changer is requesting for the link. Game Changer's requesting the link. And when Game Changer requests the link, Game Changer gets the link. And there you go. And you know what? I just foolishly just realized, I think it's a possibility that when you got your channel back, I'm pretty sure I stayed subscribed. I don't think they unsubscribed me when you lost your channel. But I don't think I'll be getting your notifications. Maybe the bell is not banged because I haven't been seeing your notifications. Okay, yeah, there it is. The bell is banged. For some reason I haven't been seeing your stuff. But drop your link, GC. Drop your link. About to bring Game Changer on up.
What's going on, Bernard?
What's up, game changer?
So you haven't been getting my link. That's interesting.
I mean, well, yeah, I haven't been getting your
My
notifications.
notifications, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
YouTube, yeah, they do that sometimes.
Yeah, I'll check into that. But yeah, what I want to say about the image is that people in general like to gravitate towards comfortable tropes. And I think that what we're seeing play out is Black men doing that. Like this is like all you have to do to a group of people is show a particular image and then show others react positively to that image, and people will gravitate towards it from a young age. And even though society may not give the reaction that they see on television or what have you, it doesn't matter, because in their mind, you know, this is the thing to be. Like we see it with the whole mammy trope amongst Black American women, where you know, somewhere in, I don't know, the 20s, the 1920s, they created this Hattie McDaniel type Gone with the Wind mammy trope. This overweight Black woman who can cook and wears a bonnet, and she's mean to her children but overly nice to white women. Or white people, excuse me. Mm-hmm. And that trope still exists, and the bonnet still exists, and the fat still exists. It's just that, you know, society is now playing it out because, according to the people who created it, people like the mammy. So if you are a young person, you want to be liked, you go for that trope. Same with Sapphire or Jezebel. You know, you can pretty much break modern women, or particularly modern Black American women, into these three categories, is because they're deliberately following a trope in order to do what they think is going to please society. Same with the modern, you know, bad boy or thug image. This is what they think they're doing to please society.
MT Soul in the building says there's no such thing as the hood, just short for neighborhood. Big difference from the ghetto. You know what you mean by that one?
Well, yeah, I think that people take the hood and put ghetto on it. You know, they just assume that it's the ghetto. And he's saying that it's short for neighborhood and it's not necessarily a ghetto. I get that, but the term, you know, hood is always used in reference to the ghetto, changing the definition of it from a simple abbreviation.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's I was taken aback by that statement. That's why I just threw it to you, because when we talk about the hood, generally we know what we're talking about. When we talk about the hood, we de facto talking about the ghetto. So I don't know.
I get it. I mean, it's semantics. It's semantics. It's really, it's not worth discussing, but I mean, it's worth $5. So I mean,
I was wondering, was it something that I missed that I didn't know about, that, you know,
couple of minutes.
Something that I meant. Like, hold on, I brought you CJ NBD up. He was talking. He said, "We praise the hood to cope." Oh, that's a good point. The reality of life in the hood is a lot to handle, so we turn the struggle into a positive. I'm from the streets, knuckle. Shout out to Trade, not Trade NB, CJ.
And, you know, I think it's a little bit deeper than that, which is, you know, why you don't really hear much about, you know, poor Africans that live in the offskirts of the city near the jungles. They don't say, you know, I'm from the jungles. They really don't represent like that. Like, you know, or they don't say, look at the flies on my face. You know, like people who are genuinely, you know, living in struggle situations internationally, they don't do that, and with good reason. That's because, for one, it's stupid, and for two, there isn't a positive narrative to go with it.
Yeah, like I always, well, I don't want to say I always talk about, when relevant, when it comes up in the conversation, I will reference the girl I dated from Kenya, and she was breaking down the distinction from, she didn't say, well, she referred to it as the village versus living in the village versus living in the city. she didn't refer to the village as some badge of honor that that Africans or Kenyans who live in the city who are doing better. The village isn't some badge of honor. It's some place that they go back to because that's grandmama probably still live there, family members live there. So yeah, they end up going back there, but it's not like they don't got to go, they don't got to make it to the city and then say, oh well, let me let me wear the rags of the village Kenyans. It's
right.
Yeah.
And with exception, that's pretty much, standard throughout. Like, in India, if you're like last caste, I think it's the fourth caste, they don't really brag on that. If you're here and you're white, you don't really brag on the trailer park.
Yep.
And that's because once again, there isn't a positive trope for it.
Yeah, no doubt. CJ NBM in the building. You could further expand on the statement that you made, but first, before I do that, Trader MBD, I accidentally shout out to Trader MBD. Yeah, it was funny. I CJ NBM and Trader MBD. I always get your names for one when I mean the other. But anyway, we got CJ up here. You made a couple comments in your super chats. You can go ahead and expand on what you said there.
Appreciate it. Shout out to everybody. And Game Changer is actually right. It is a little bit deeper than just, trying to cope. It's actually like it's tied to pop culture and hip hop culture to where that type of lifestyle is actually cool. It's become cool and mainstream. I remember when I was a teenager listening to Dipset and all these other groups, and they talking about selling drugs and shooting people. Now, these are things that I didn't do at all, nor did my friends do, but it was like the popular culture. So we would listen to the music and, some of us would mimic it. And like I grew up in the suburb, but there were guys who, and I saw this firsthand, there were guys who lived in the suburbs like me, who had both parents, nice house, 2-car garage, but they're taking on the hip hop culture. So now they want to be thugs. And some of those guys actually lost their lives in the suburbs because they wanted to be perceived cool in what is our culture now.
Exactly. I mean, think about the movie 8 Mile, and you had Papa Doc's character who, had both parents. He was from the suburb and stuff, but, he took on his persona and, pretended to be hood. And for what? It was weird. And then Eminem called him out on it and won the rap battle, and he lost all of his street credibility for having both parents in a healthy relationship. Hold on one moment.
Yeah, it's actually funny because it's like putting on that persona and pretending, it actually benefited a lot of guys in the short term. Like, in high school, even though we're in the suburbs, just you're popular, you're cool, you got a lot of respect, got girls liked you. So it benefited some guys in the short term. Now, a lot of them wound up losing their lives when they didn't have to. Or a lot of them graduated from high school and realized, oh, man, I don't really have any prospects for my future. But in the short term, it seemed like the cool thing to do, to be like a tough guy.
Well, what's the short-term benefit?
I mean, just like in terms of high school, they had benefits there. Like they were cool, they were popular, they got girls. Now, obviously, high school is a very short-term period of your life. But
yeah, the early peaking, but extremely important for social standing and status in the Black community. That's why people are able to tell you, hey, man, when you get successful, I remember you when you was in school and you know what I'm saying, you didn't have no shoes. Or, you was lame, or you was fat, or you was this, you was that, all this other shit. Niggas are forever trapped in the past to where, again, they see themselves superior to you. That's a big thing about the hood thing too.
Yeah, that's actually why we didn't, my high school class, we didn't have a 10-year reunion, because there were two girls arguing about who should be in charge of organizing it. And then that's when one of the girls on Facebook was like, girl, you wasn't even popular in high school. You don't even have no opinion on this. And so
damn,
That whole thing, yeah. So that
that's
whole
messed up.
Yeah.
Even after high school, she gonna
10
take a
years
shot
later.
at her lack of popularity. That's wrong.
I know.
This we supposed to be in a place where none of that. Oh, that's in the past. It don't matter. But she gonna try to stick the knife in a little further. Get one last.
But
bully
that's
in
what's
with
wrong
her.
with niggas.
Well-
though. Niggas is forever in the 13th grade, man. Everything
Yeah.
with niggas is well, that's literally where a lot of people are stuck at, and that's where they have their their glory, whether they was a the athlete or the cute girl or the cool guy or the dope boy or whatever the hell it was. You know what I'm saying? That's where niggas get stuck at.
And yeah, we actually didn't have a reunion because of that whole beef, and people started picking sides, and so now we gotta wait for a 20-year because of some petty high school stuff.
And the little cute
Not 15.
girl. She's still trying to play the little mean girls game, even though she didn't gain 60 pounds since high school. She knows she fat now. You ain't the cute chick no more. Sit your ass down. Let the smart chick organize the event so it can run right. But anyway, that's another story. Shut on real quick. Shout out to Clue real quick. It says shout out to Bernard Riley, the talking dead of the manosphere. I take that as a compliment. I actually like that show. Even now in the building, I have no idea how much that is. Hopefully somebody can look that up for me. But she says, ironic that you're discussing this topic in the DR now, and hood folk are in abundance at the resorts. He said it's hood folk are in abundance at the resorts I ended up booking. They pretty much imported the ghetto culture over here, giving Black Americans a bad name. I'm always confused by that because I was, I guess, ignorantly under the impression that Black people who were traveling like that were not the ones who are on the niggadom. So when
not to DR, Bernard. I mean, no disrespect to the travel bros, but DR is not the same thing as like going, Caribbean and DR is not the same as going to Europe or Asia or even South America. That's I think you can go to the DR with one of the what you call it. It's not like a passport, but you know what I'm saying, like the card, like a passport card, not even a full passport, I think.
Okay, and I assume that it's cheaper. I assume that too.
Oh hell yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it's everywhere because it's in the airwaves. Basically, any place where people speak English, they're going to get a hold of it. Now, the DR and its proximity to the Dominican community in places like Jersey and New York, they're going to have some of that, in them. Like, they have, there are people there with cousins in New York and New Jersey and stuff like that, and they come back different. And, some people find it interesting, the behavior. So it does make sense that there's going to be some influence, whether it's, coming from tourists or coming from just them touring America.
All right. Shout out to Evie. Now, I believe you sent me $17.51. I'm not even 100% sure. I think I got it right. But shout out to
it's close to
what you saying, Fantastic?
Yeah, the color code will tell you. So it's close to $20. It was somewhere around $20 if it's orange. Like blue is green is like what, $5.
What is orange?
And then blue is $2, and red is 50 or higher, and I think red is red is purple is 50
that's
and red
$5.
is 100. Yeah, so something like that.
What is orange?
Orange is somewhere around 20.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yellow is 10, and it's color coded.
So a peso is about 1,000 Dominican pesos is about $20. So he's right, that is 20. And 50 is $1. So that's 5. Gotcha.
And she says, needless to say, my first and last time visiting. Yeah, it's I didn't know niggerdom was taking a flight, getting all in the air, landing in other places like that. I had no idea. But number 16 in the building with the $5 super chat. Appreciate that. Says the stimulus checks and unemployment have let people that could not travel across the country now travel out the U.S. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. I think I'd interrupted somebody a second ago. I don't know if Fantastic. Did you want it? You got something that you wanted to say? Because you kind of just jumped in when some. So
no, I was just commenting
something in particular.
I think it's still his turn. It's CJ's turn. I'm
okay.
my turn yet, so. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, go CJ. Did you wrap up what you was trying to get at?
I actually wanted to respond to something that I saw from Thai City real quick.
Okay.
Okay, basically he made a comment saying that we're the only ones who are affected by music. And it's not necessarily that we're affected by music, it's the culture surrounding the music. Like most of us listen to hip hop and we might not agree with it, but it's catchy, but we don't actually act on the things in the song. But some of us, when you combine the culture and then you combine the family structure that some of us have, people are impressionable. So when you grow up in a home that's not fully together, and you see some of the benefits that certain people have from living a certain lifestyle, you're more prone to want to be a part of that. It's not necessarily the music; it's the benefits and the lack of family that cause people to jump into that.
Let me compound on that. It's not just that. Again, we're the only culture where the music is the culture, allegedly. You know, you drug dealing, you killing, you know what I'm saying, you having sex with random women, all of this type shit, and we're told by the entertainers that this isn't entertainment, this is real life. Okay,
Yeah,
when the Red Hot Chili Peppers and whoever else in the hell they do this stuff, they make it understood that hey, this is just for entertainment purposes. And then, like you said, the children or the people that ingest this entertainment are taught that hey, this is just entertainment, this isn't real life. But for black people, it's just like everything else. GC was saying earlier about just this infatuation with being hood and being from the streets and all this other shit. It's upside down as to where oh no, this shit is real, my nigga. It's real. We really out here killing niggas. We really out here shooting niggas. And which hell, some of them really are. I mean, you did what some SoundCloud dude where he just killed 3 white folks, man, on a golf course. They don't even let niggas tax paying niggas on golf courses, but somehow this hood nigga got on a golf course and killed 3 white folks. One of them was a pro golfer. So I mean, hey man, it's hard to understand and explain it, but it's just a sad reality. And people want to say to the point of where we just don't have the culture where it's strong enough to overpower the entertainment. Everything with and this also leaks into what you were saying earlier. This is why shout out to Big Truck. He went over it and he's had a video where, I think he's in the Philippines or somewhere. They was like, "What's up, my nigga?" And that's how everybody sees everybody. So it's kind of crazy when you think about it. That a black person isn't even seen as an individual. They're seen as their favorite black character, whether it be rapper, actor, or whatever. That's what you're known as. You're not known as like an individual person that isn't toting guns, smoking weed, and doing a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah, I
So,
think everybody agrees on this one. I think people try to reach for the disagreement because sort of like if I take what Ty City is saying, he says blaming music takes the heat off of parenting, and then you just said fantastic that our culture, or in other words, our parenting isn't strong enough due to the lack of intact families to where the parenting apparently isn't strong enough to have more influence over the over the culture.
Exactly,
So,
but like you said, I
yeah,
don't even know why that's
generally agree. I don't think you make an excuse for a parent. Like it don't matter what my
well,
kids hear. I'm going to influence. I know I'm going to be a good
exactly
parent
me too,
and
more
influence
than
them
anybody.
more than the music. You take a large group of people and all the nonsense that go on in the community, then you got music playing on repeat that glorify it and further normalize it. Yes, I think it will increase the percentage of people that grow up with bad parents. It will increase the percentage that a lot of them will think that shit is more normal.
Well,
But
just real quick,
you
Bernard.
still don't want to just blindly say it's the music fault. No, I
Well,
don't think
no.
nobody is, and that's where again people reach to disagree. Nobody is saying it's the music fault. They're
Well,
saying
yeah. I mean,
they're saying music is a factor in the equation, and I think everybody understands that.
Well, again, man. I'm not trying to, make a personal thing. I'll just say this: the facts bear out more than anything else. Again, let's just use Chicago. You have a mother of a rapper that's lost I don't know how many kids up here getting involved in rap beef, talking about, smoking this, smoking that. We the same thing that the kids are doing, the adults are doing. So we know full hand again the reasons for the lack of parenting. But if you address the parenting, is it going to change anything? And what's the cause of the parenting? The cause of the parenting is the fact of the matter that single black mothers are in charge of the households, and these sons that are being raised that have no respect for authority and a hatred for black male authority. I'm gonna say it again. They have no respect for male authority, but a hatred for black male authority. So the white man, they don't like him. They'll run from him. They'll talk shit to him and all this other shit. But a black man, they'll kill your ass. So if he wants to, be on that crusade and be the one man that somehow changes the parenting of the black community that's been going on now for 3 generations, hey, he can have at it and he can try. And I guess he has the answer that none of us seems to answer and fix the problem. Because again, like you said, when I see these little kids, I just saw a little girl the other day singing along to what's Pooh Shiesty. All right, killing niggas, shooting niggas, get it back in blood and all this other shit. A little girl, man. This girl that had a hole full of silver teeth in her mouth, So you know what that means. She ain't eating no vegetables, nothing but hot Cheetos and juicy juices and the most unhealthiest shit ever. But she's singing the full unedited version of, a rap song talking about killing and shooting niggas. So again, man, if you want to be the person that, I guess has the answer and fixes it, by all means, be my guest.
Sick Lid in the building with the $10 super chat. Goddamn.
What do we get for $10? Everything you want. Everything? Everything. You.
Shout out to Sick Lid. He said Redskins free safety Sean Taylor wanted to keep it real and stay in the hood. He was robbed and shot dead. Yeah. Yeah. SKC in the way. Hold on, fantastic. Did you formally get to go? I'm bad.
No, I mean it's good. I was just, jumping in wherever, man. It's good. We go along. I'm good.
Just getting in where you fit in. Go ahead, SKC. You got the floor. You got the mic.
No, I just have questions for everybody, man. I know it. I had this conversation with Ty City a bunch of times, man. I like it, but I just have questions, man. Fantastic. Do you ever see like some black bums and stuff walking down the street rapping to themselves? You seen that before?
Yeah, bums, yeah.
Yeah. Have you ever seen like any white or Latin or Chinese bums and stuff?
No.
Do they be,
No.
singing Foo Fighters and stuff to themselves?
No. No.
I wonder why.
That would be funny though. That would be funny.
I wonder why.
Like you said, man, it's unfortunately it's ingrained in the culture. You're told that, bro. I remember, and Bernard, me and you were around the same age. So I remember when rock had like this thing before, and this was right before. This is how I know, and this is how I know, like you onto some shit, right? So if everybody remembers, I don't know if you guys remember this. Linkin Park did a collab with Jay-Z, but before that, they had like one of the biggest albums, like rock albums. It had to be around like 2000, 2001, something like that or whatnot. No, it was like 2002, 2003. And like, I heard it and, because that's when MTV actually played music and shit. And I was like, okay, well, damn, this is a little, what's the name? I don't fuck with rock at all, but, shit, it's cool. I listened to it. And it was like a couple, and then System of a Down. So, and like, bro, you heard somebody playing that shit, bro. You was like the lamest nigga, the this, the that, the whatever. Just if you was trying to broaden your music, your musical fucking spectrum or whatever. So yeah, man, like you said, for us, like you only have one choice. Like if you ain't listening to nothing other than rap, and we talking gangster rap, killer nigga, drug dealer, all this other bullshit, bro. There's something wrong with you. You're not gonna be able to make it in your neighborhood.
Well, just another question. I mean, I know over the past few years, and then there's a website on it too about different rap artists that have been murdered and shot and killed, and there are different beefs between each other, and different ones that then killed each other. Is there another music genre that has something similar to that?
The
Not that I
closest
can
thing would
think
be
of.
grunge or some shit, but like, I mean, you know, I guess.
I didn't know that the grunge dudes were beefing with each other and that they then shot
Oh
and
no,
killed each
oh beef.
other.
I forgot now. Yeah, I don't know about no beefing part. Yeah, I don't think nothing where you know white folks get together and shoot each other up or even fight like that.
I wonder why.
Well, that's a value of life, and again, like I said, not a hatred, and seeing somebody that looks like them as a threat. For whatever reason, like I said, the black male doesn't like authority because of his upbringing and his fucking raising. But then, like you said, then you have the because she's raising them, she has a hatred for the black male, so she passes it on down to her own son for him to hate what he's going to become.
Hold on, Miss Fantastic. It's like, am I seeing a correlation here? Wait, we just stated there's no other music genres that have those beefs like that, to where people come up dead and so forth, and we don't see any other music genres where people be walking down the street reciting the music over and over and over and over, and then we have in the black community a whole bunch of dudes shooting and killing each other. No, that couldn't be a correlation. That couldn't be an influence. No, get out of here.
Well, see, here's the thing, SKC. I do believe in the 80s, before rap music took off, it was still Bloods and Crips shooting and killing each other. I think we can agree with that simple point. The only problem I have with it, and I said it before, I'll restate it again, is that black people killing each other in America at the rate that black people kill each other in America is really the biggest problem. Like that like it's horrible. The murder rate is horrible. We all can agree with that. When the most popular music glorifies and sings along with a hook to a catchy beat to singing about that thing that is the worst thing about the community, that's bad. It normalizes it. That's what I'm saying. So I think it was happening. I think it was happening, but the music normalizing it that's not good.
Well, Bernard, not just normalizing it. It's a
now I
level.
have to call out.
It.
Now I have to
Yeah,
call out.
glorifying it. Exactly, glorifying it.
Yeah, I meant glorifying it normalizes it.
Now I have to call out Ty City, man, because we talk about this, bro. We talk about this so far as the whole thing of, you know, people putting up these examples and stuff. You had to go to John Lennon, dude. Like that's your best example.
What point was made about John Lennon?
Yeah, he said he was gunned down, but was he gunned down by another artist? Was he gunned down by another fucking folk music artist?
But even if it was, dude, you had to go back to what decade?
1980, I think. John.
I could name you rap. I could go and do a Google search and do rap artists that been shot like this week. What are you talking about?
Shit, this summer, man. This summer, where was that? Was that Chicago where all them people kept getting killed? Like the rappers were getting killed left and right or whatever. And it's just overall, this last summer, man, was just crazy. So yeah, man, it was it wasn't even summer. It was like springtime.
Yeah, and I think white people have a higher suicide rate. So if music normalize suicide more and they have a higher suicide rate, then I think that would make a point against your point.
That's the exact point that I'm making. So I get what Ty's saying is, because I'm with him on the whole thing of people use. I think the community as a whole lacks parenting skills, and they try to pass off all sorts of issues due to a lack of parenting. But at the same time, you have a generation that has built upon another generation where rap and so forth has been a staple that they have used rap to teach their children. You have dudes that they know more lyrics than they know things that come out of books. You have literal dudes that will make debates with you saying, just like Tupac said, Just like Jay-Z said. I mean,
Hey,
come on.
I quote Jay-Z from time to time. I do. I'm guilty. I quote Jay-Z, but I know it ain't the end all be all. It's just fun. But here this is a simple point. The explosion of Eminem 1999 2000, the Marshall Mathers LP, one of the biggest rap albums ever. He started a fucking cult after that when all the white boys bleaching their hair, wearing white
the
t-shirts.
wigger.
He started a cult. Do you think the ascension of Eminem led to more or less or a neutral amount of white boys, cutting themselves and popping pills and just doing crazy white boy shit?
No,
That was one of the first times when crazy white boy stuff, the crazy stuff that white boys do, was really truly glorified in the same way that rap music glorify nigga shit. So
if I remember right, the Menendez brothers.
Oh, go ahead.
The Menendez murders happened way before Eminem, so I don't think there was a big increase in killing your mom or your baby mama by white boys after the Marshall Mathers LP came out. What he had Marshall Mathers LP, Slim Shady, and it was one more. I forget whatever one it was.
LP, Marshall Mathers LP. Then the next one
was it was something before Encore, but I remember what it was. But it was the other one.
Yeah, the Eminem show.
Yeah, the Eminem show. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, even with his, and like you said, here goes the rap lyric. Only dudes using moving units is M, Pimp, Juice, and Us. So from that time in the 2000s, only people that made the biggest names were Jay-Z, Eminem, and Nelly. You know what I'm saying? So this is before 50 Cent and Kanye hit the scene. So to have an understanding of that, man, even with those dudes doing that, you still had all of these other gangster rap or hood shit, crunk music, all this other stuff, man. Like I remember where you couldn't play Lil Jon or 3 6 Mafia in the club, bro, because somebody was definitely gonna get shot. They banned the music. They had to ban that music because, like, bro, club owners got tired of getting their shit shut down or having to change the name of their club because it was a fucking shooting there over some goddamn music. And my bad, go ahead.
Real quick before you go, SKC, I just think it's just a real simple point. No way to prove it, but I do think it's a real simple point that an impressionable 13, 14-year-old white boy listening to Eminem and just starting to, idolize Eminem, that probably increased the probability that he never even thought about popping pills. It probably increased the probability that he would, especially if he didn't have good, proper guidance. That's just a real simple point that I think everybody can agree on that one. Shout out to Sick Lid. He said, "Come on, Bernard, you've got black men in this space threatening each other's lives." I think that's
catch a flight, nigga. Catch a flight.
Because in the white manosphere, they're like, I'm taking you to court. Like they go into court. They trying to hash out their stuff legally, and niggas is talking about pull up with your gun out, strapped and all that. Yeah. So that's, you can see the cultural difference, and you can see a difference in the music. Is art imitating reality or reality imitating art? It's a little bit of both. It's like a weird fucked up circle that it goes in, but yeah, the music is attached to it. So anyway, go ahead, SKC.
No, it's just funny to me how we're having this discussion with black women about different statistics and stuff and whatever, and then they will come up with the exception that proves the rule. And I just see it just black people in rap. I get it. It's an emotional topic because it goes to a lot of things that people feel and so forth. But the truth is the truth, man. It's like, come on. Exception to the rule arguments talking about Marilyn Manson influenced Columbine. Okay, even if it did. Dude, you got Columbine happening in your hood every day.
Yeah, every day.
What are you talking about?
Yeah. Like people shooting people in their sleep, people shooting pregnant women. Like, yeah, man. And SKC, you know why the conversation doesn't want to be had is because it brings up a horrible truth, like you said, man. It's just a lack of maturity as a race that the black community has.
No, it goes further than that. And I have to. I want Ty City to have a conversation about this. What it really comes down to, I'm putting a claim out there. Why it's so emotional to so many guys in the space, in the hood, and so forth. Because in reality, a lot of these rap artists took the place of dad.
Oh, most definitely. Those guys were the only male influences that they were allowed to have and even get close to. Either that, like you said, that's why we have so much renown and so much respect for the athlete. The athlete and the entertainer reign supreme in the black community, man. That's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. So yeah, that's another big thing about it. Like I said, bro, you will literally get killed. Like the dude that just got killed, bro. You say something, go to certain areas and say something bad about a rapper, bro, you'll lose your life. You know what I'm saying? You lose your fucking life.
Yeah,
over a comment over somebody that this somebody you never met.
Daddy.
This somebody you never ever met in your life. Never even been within 100 feet of. But if you say something bad about a man, hey, a nigga's willing to kill you over that, man.
Yeah, somebody had messed up the Nipsey mural, and then somebody got killed like the other day about that.
Damn.
Yeah.
Some dude had spray painted over the mural. And then,
well, it wasn't even him. What they're saying, it wasn't that dude. It wasn't even actually the dude that did it. He was just associated with that dude.
Yeah, it was like his homie.
Yeah,
somebody did.
You know,
he got shot right on Instagram Live.
I mean, it is what it is, dude. It's like I understand when people, make the comments or whatnot, but at the same time, you just have to be honest, dude. It's the same type of stuff that black women be coming up with when they come with all of these arguments that's based upon the exception to the rule stuff. And that's what you have with a lot of dudes with rap. Because there's an obvious connection to the influence and what it does to the community, as it were. You already have broken.
I started to bring up in my opening in my whole little opening diatribe when I referenced Jay-Z. I wanted to point out to where even though right now he's bigger than a rapper, he's a businessman. He's a businessman, as he said in the song, to quote Jay-Z again. But I wanted to bring up that even though if you look at his music right now, like it's evolved. He's talking about being a father and being married and this and that and all of that. But it's like he still has to say, drop a line.
So dope. So dope. I'm moving please. Every time.
Go back. He's still saying that. Like, don't make me go back to selling crack.
You 40, married and a billionaire. Stop it, please.
That nigga 50, I think. Yeah,
50, right? An alleged billionaire. You got again, Bernard.
You still got a kowtow to that shit.
Listen, but like you said, Bernard, this dude is so far removed from. He don't have to work another day in his life. All right, but in order for him to keep his reverence in the black community, he has to always go back to the only thing he know niggas respect. Marcy Project's been torn down, ain't they? I think, or they haven't been torn down.
If I'm not mistaken.
If they haven't been torn down, they've been changed into motherfucking high-rise apartments that niggas can't afford to stay in no more. But either way it goes, like you said, man, this whole thing as to where, bro, this is what you have to do in order to be respected. And another Jay-Z lyric, you know what I'm saying? Hey, y'all kill X, let Zimmerman live. Streets is done. You niggas don't really want no smoke with this shit you claim you want smoke with, man. Y'all, the whole city of New Jersey put up on that white dude. Didn't the hand get laid on it, man? Y'all call the cops. Y'all call the police. You know what I'm saying? Not saying and not condoning us encouraging people to murder people, but still, man, like I said, only people niggas is killing is niggas. You know what I'm saying? And it's no secret. White man don't give a fuck about what he do to you. He know he can call you a jigaboo, monkey, spear chucking, whatever in the hell, and all you gonna do is motherfucking call the cops. You ain't gonna pull out the fire and shoot him like you would a dude again for disrespecting somebody you don't even know.
I got some disagreement. One, they ain't not about to pull up on some dude house and just open fire and shoot him like that. But I still believe that the majority of the time a white person call a black person a nigga live in public like that, the white person get beat the fuck up. I still believe that, but the victim crack niggas like to record it. Oh, look at what he's saying. He's so racist, so they can, and push the share button and share a bunch of victim porn, oppression porn all over the internet. But for the most part, live in real time, random white dude get beat the fuck up. Just call him random black person a nigger. So that's where I'm at with that. But you are right in the general point that yeah, they ain't about that action, about that cause, about the stuff that they talk about. You know, when you reference the Jay-Z lyric, like niggas, black people killed Malcolm X, Zimmerman walking around. Yeah, you know that. I'm with.
He was referring to X Tentacion, another rapper.
Yeah,
he was referring to a rapper.
Right. Yeah, got you. There, I said it in the building. He said black baby mamaism is ground zero for ADOS culture dysfunction. Non-black single mom is not glorified. Good point. Non-black single mom is not glorified, not rewarded with baby showers and honors. Yeah, they do have 3 kids, but 3 different men, and get 3 decked out, lavish baby showers each time. Shout out to you. Shout out to Black Wolf Inc. because SKC's on the panel. He want me. I got to play it again. This was pretty damn cool. Shout out to SK. Shout out to SKC. That was pretty damn cool. And Stoic One, thank you for dropping fantastic link in the chat too. You can periodically drop the links in the chat for the individuals who are on the panel. The Glorious One says, it's funny how people want self-accountability on behavior, male or female, don't want to take self-accountability when it comes to music. Hashtag blame it on the music. I don't think, okay, here we go. We're going back to that. Well, I think what he's saying is that we're just blaming it on the music. I'm not doing that. And I don't think anybody else is exactly doing that. The music is a problem.
Bernard, remember when we had the debate with OG on your thing, right? So you can't have it both ways, man. Again, one of the biggest ways of subconscious programming and getting somebody to the thing, and this is through visual, seeing or hearing. So music in itself, how many silent commercials you done seen lately, Bernard Riley?
No, that's a good point. Okay, so what degree do you blame it on the music? Because like I say the stuff was already happening, and the fact that the music glorify it and normalize it and put it on repeat to a catchy beat makes everybody more numb to it. So that's how the music is helping to enable the condition that black people was already had anyway.
I wouldn't say heavily. I'm not going to say even up to 50%, but I would say definitely like at least a quarter to 30% of it is there, because like you said, Bernard, it's being glorified, and this is being put out here and promoted to the children. Again, man, it's not just if it was the adults that don't, and it goes full circle back to not even the adults had the maturity enough to separate reality from entertainment and then tell their children, hey, this is just entertainment. And then furthermore, having some type of discretion in what their children be introduced to. Like I said, I don't know if you guys seen it, but this little girl, she couldn't have been no more than like 6-7 years old, singing the unedited version of fucking Get It Back in Blood. A whole song about killing niggas that somebody then killed somebody, with you. You know what I'm saying?
Well, fantastic. I think a part of it too has to do with you don't have parents that are telling their children, no, you can't listen to that. Turn that stuff off.
Exactly. That's exactly what I'm saying. SKC is not
on that junk, and they believe that there was nothing wrong with it.
That's a good point, because our parents, our generation, SKC, I'm assuming you close to me in fantastic age. Our parents didn't grow up on rap music. So when they heard us in the room listening to rap music, they're like, whoa, what the hell is this?
Oh yeah, what the hell is this?
But now it's a whole generation of people damn near 40. I'm 39, I think Fantastic's 38. It's a whole generation of 40-year-olds now who grew up on rap music. So they think nothing of it, and they kids listening to it and digesting it. And so now it's, again, normalization. It's not even it's no parental measures to say, wait, hold on, what you listen to. Let me stop this. Let me look at, that's done. Before, parents used to actually used to monitor it and make sure that, hey, this too far. This ain't cool. This ain't right. But now that ain't even happening. Shout out to Son is Hot Rod in the building. He says, I agree with SKC. Shout out to Son is Hot Rod in the. He says, I agree with SKC. It's really sad you got kids that can recite a whole rap album word for word, but struggle with basic arithmetic. Absolutely. Absolutely. Number 16 in the building with the $10 super chat. Says these gangsters are not rappers but criminals. Just because you pick up a mic and rap does not change the fact that you shoot people and sell drugs regularly. Most black people do not kill or sell drugs.
How do you pronounce this guy's name? Xafe Zaffe or something? Or I don't know. Yeah,
there you go.
Well, I would just say not all. I mean, I didn't grow up on him.
Well, okay, my mom was born 1962, so that means she was 20 in 1982. And hip hop, okay, yeah, it was some different type of rap, coming out of the 70s into the early 80s, but what we would define as rap today, that probably didn't get going into, mid to late 80s, the type of rap that we talking about. That probably didn't get
late. Yeah, definitely late 80s, like NWA being like the biggest one, the first one.
Whenever you say that, somebody got to pull out Too Short or Ice-T was before NWA, so that's why I just said
majorly. Too Short was before NWA, for real?
If I'm not, oh wait, no, not. Okay, I'm not getting. Ice-T was for sure.
Ice-T was also motherfucking doing breakdance and shit. So again, he made the transition or whatever. But NWA was the first mass-produced
glitter and lip gloss. So yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Transitioned. Yeah, so it like NWA was the first majorly pushed thing on a national level like that. Just like when it came to like the booty shaking music, it was like 2 Live Crew or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So about 88. So I can say that, yeah, my mom didn't grow up on rap music. Rap music is something that she, that started taking off. Type of rap we talking about started taking off when she would have had to been in her mid-20s.
Damn, how old is Too Short? Too Short on some Senior Citizen shit. Y'all say Too Short was on 85? Like, god damn.
Here goes another one. Here goes another one though. And I just gotta call it out. I'm not trying to make fun. I'm just calling it out. Negroes know more about rap history than they do about U.S. history.
Number 16 in the building. I think you definitely got that right. I don't feel like Googling it, but as far as I knew, Too Short was before NWA. As far as I know. Yep, a lot of people confirming that or agreeing with that statement. Too Short was before.
Damn, black don't crack for real. I didn't know this nigga should have a walking cane and a goddamn and a dialysis machine. Goddamn.
Well, somebody
Too Short, 95 years old.
Somebody made a meme where they showed how Jaheim, who said put that woman first, was looking old as hell, and then they showed it side by side with a picture of Too Short. And they quoted one of Too Short lyrics, and he looking significantly younger than Jaheim, even though he like 15, 20 years older or something like that. So he don't love them hoes that kept him young. But anyway, number 16 in the building with the super chat. Appreciate you. Number 16 with another one says, it is not the music. People were being born out of wedlock on that heron and shot with James Brown and Martin Gaye in the background in the 70s. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. There's some nuance to that I don't feel like unpacking. We got hold on. Shit. Oh, my thing. Okay, there it goes. My computer. It looked like everything froze for a second. Shout out to RP. I don't know what to call you, man. He said these elites understand vibration and frequency. Notice how both have an effect on water. Remember, our bodies are 90% water.
He going deep with it. Hotep, brother. You gotta understand and overstand, my brother.
I don't overstand him. I don't under or overstand what he said right there, but it sounds good. Yeah, I'm with you.
Oh man.
But I would have to say, like, at this point, I think it would have to be 50-50, just because rap is not just like a genre. Well, hip hop is not just a genre of music to us anymore. At this point, hip hop is like synonymous with black culture. See, in other cultures, like rock is just rock music, pop is just pop music. But with us, hip hop is synonymous with black culture.
It's life.
Yeah, it is the black culture. So it's like it's going to influence people more so than other kinds of music, because
okay, but do you get the significance of what you're saying? Because a lot of people don't grasp that there are these things called ghostwriters and and all sorts of editing that takes place. So when people quote these individuals, they sometimes believe that they're quoting someone's experience or life action or whatnot, when in essence they could be just quoting, some
made up story or whatever.
from another race.
Yeah, but also another big thing too. And I'm gonna hop up out of here. Is you got to understand, like CJ was saying, that the impact of rap is now that's all you got. Again, there is no more R&B. For white people, you got plenty of different. You got pop, you got rock, you got grunge, you got metal, you got what I'm saying, country. You got all these different things, right? But for us, we're only getting fed one thing and one thing only now, to the point of where it ain't even no more love making music out here. Niggas, oh nigga, you listen to that slow music, nigga, you a simp, you gay, you this, you like, no, nigga, I grew up listening to motherfucking Jodeci, Key Sweat, and whatever else in the fuck, and nigga, I would rather fuck to that than goddamn Lil Jon and the East Side Boys. I mean, like, damn, my nigga, that's how you get down. That's how you get down. But me, that's how that's how I was raised. But there is no more of that. Even the R&B singers now are more rappers. Chris Brown, doing rap lyrics, just like Bryson Tiller and all these other people or whatnot, what have you. You have to have that rap feel to it for people to even really do it. They don't even want to hear. You don't want to hear no singing. Anybody trying to even hear no singing? Like I said, Megan Thee Stallion. Who's the biggest female R&B artist right now? I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know how you can argue that. And no female R&B artist, from you look at the transition from the 90s to now, could even stand a chance of one of these female rappers telling you about, WAP and she sexy little bitch, sexy little hoe, let me, say all down your throat. I mean, like, damn, that's where we are.
But the funny part is, it's not just the guys, it's the girls too. I remember I took this girl out, like back in the day, I took this girl out, we in the car, so I'm like, I don't want to play this, shoot 'em up shit with the girl in the car. So I put on some R&B. She looked at me like, what the fuck is this? Put on some Yo Gotti. I said, well, damn, okay.
So
you call some slow music, bitch. Look at you funny. She like, nigga, what the hell wrong with you, nigga? What you think going?
Yeah, she like, put on some Boosie, nigga. What is this?
So how many children have been conceived to gangster rap?
Hey, that's about 90%, bro. I'm telling you, shoot a nigga in the face, shoot him in the head. Make sure that nigga good and dead. Like, hey, that's what niggas being made to, man. That's what the whole generation of black folks being made to nowadays, man.
Yeah, man. He says, wait, hold on. This is what I meant to click on. Jackie's Retro in the building. He said, do you realize that hip hop is literally the most worldly influential genre of music in history? Is it any true? Is that a true statement to the assessment of the panel? Anybody?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's a tough one to call.
Hip hop has a very heavy influence on American culture. There's no way around that. There's no way around that part right there. But far as Most worldly influential genre of music history. I don't know about that one. I don't know. I have to do some research on that one. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Um, we got. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, that's it on the super chats. That's it on the super chats. Nagone says rock and roll beat it out, but close. I trust Nagone. All right. Future admits to making up lyrics about drug use to sell records. No shit. Like that, I already knew that one. Like, listen, I mean, the way I always look at it is some of them, okay, you probably did at some point growing up sell some drugs. You ain't sell that many damn drugs. Like, cut it out. I always say they own some. They clearly lying and making stuff up. They clearly that's these aren't. This isn't biographical. Listening to rap lyrics, they clearly making it up as they go along. Probably mixed in with a true story or true concept here and there. But anyway, we got Uncle Ruckus the commie in the building. Go ahead, you got the floor, you got the mic.
Hey, what's up, Bernard?
What's going on?
Not much, man. So I agree with pretty much most of the stuff I've heard on here so far. I do have a slightly different perspective though. Before y'all beat me up for it, just hear me out, right?
Uh-oh.
Well, go ahead and read that super chat.
Number 16 in the building. He says, if the people you interact with only deal with violent music, that is a you issue. Get in a better circle. I don't know who he's addressing right there. I don't think anybody on the panel said the only people they interact with is people who only listen to violent music. I don't know exactly who you're addressing, but thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. Go ahead.
All right, all right, so here's the slightly different perspective I have. It's actually, well, it's not, it's more of an addition. So I'll be honest, I've actually found myself doing exactly what you're describing, or at least some part of it, where because there's a certain attachment to growing up in the hood, being around the hood, etc. And I found that even though I'm a professional black man who I don't sell drugs, I'm not a thug or nothing like that, but I can tell you for me, I think one of the reasons why I find that I have that connection to it is because, to a certain extent, I actually feel like the hood actually did some good for me. Now, here's what I mean by that. So
it made you who you are.
Well, no. So here's what I mean, right? Because I'm a nerd, right? Like I'm a nerd, right? And I mean, you know this. So I'm like a straight up nerd, right? And I think for me, one of the things that the hood did for me was it made me not a total square, right? So like, there's a lot of nerds who are straight up squares, like they're just easy targets and whatnot. And like, basically, growing up in that environment, it made me not a total square. It made me know how to, like, listen, you got to hold your own. You can't just be that easy target. And so for me, I carry that with me because I found that it's actually helped me. In fact, even in the professional world, not in the nigga moment type of way, but just knowing like that. Just knowing how to carry myself is what I'm saying, right? So I guess I'm trying to figure out the best way to articulate this, but I think hopefully get my point. My point is just that I think it's not entirely bad in the sense that because I was in that environment, I basically had to just tighten up. I had to figure out, okay, you can't just, because if you don't, everybody's gonna see you as this nerd that they can just pick on. So because of that, like I was able to, learn to defend myself and hold my own and do just fine. So I don't really know if that's actually disagreeing with y'all, because I don't really think I disagree with anything y'all said. I think it's actually completely correct to say to not, like what Hassan was doing is going to the hood with all these chains on. And by the way, in Atlanta, I see cats do this type of stuff all the time, right? They're always trying to flex, and it's like, bro, like you just make yourself a target. Why would you do that? But it's part of the game. It's you go to any of these clubs, and you see every one of these dudes. They all look like thugs and rappers, and they got 20 chains on, and they're all targets, and they don't even realize that every single one of them is a target. Every single one of them. The moment you step outside that club, somebody's looking at you. So I don't really know if I actually added anything to this, but I just wanted to provide that little perspective, because just being honest with myself, when I heard y'all talking about that, I'm like, yeah, I've brought that up a few times where I'm just like, yeah, I'm from the hood. But it's not really something that like, because when you look at the bad, I feel embarrassed by a lot of the shit that, you know, when we're killing each other and, you know what I'm saying, all the bad stuff. So I'm not going to like try to glorify it. But I do think, at least on that front, where I'm just like, okay, at least I gained some street smarts. Let's put it like that. Like, I'm not just book smart and just this computer science nerd or math nerd or stuff like that. I'm able to actually hold my own. So
yeah, it sounds like you just have a just bare minimum a surface level amount of sentimental value applied to where you're from. I think, and it's okay. It's okay to have that. That's different from what other people are doing when they just still got to be closely attached to the worst element of it. That's a whole different thing. And I understand somebody saying, okay, yeah, it did make me tough. I mean, there's other ways to get made to be tough. I mean, shout out to Little Big Nate. His son didn't grow up in the hood, but his son, you talk about how tough his son is, how he's going to be damn. The way he described it, we might see his son on TV fighting, you know, MMA someday. But so clearly he raised a tough, hard-nosed boy outside of the hood.
Most of those.
You can go ahead.
No, I was just saying most champions, you know, aren't. You know, if you like Muhammad Ali and stuff like that, you know, most of them weren't raised like that.
Yeah, you got to be raised with some structure and discipline to master an art like
he was
that.
Adopted, yeah.
Yeah, Consular Murray in the building. He says, and shout out to Consular Murray. I haven't spoke to you in a while, but I be watching Matt Cord. I be seeing you over there. Be seeing you over there trying to get that AMC money. I be seeing you, Consular Murray in the building. He says it's funny how every time these rappers do interviews, the radio jocks and them talk all of this fixing the community and being positive, and at the same time they play their new Murder Kill something. That happened. I didn't play the full clip because I ended up talking for too long, and I opened it up because I wanted to hear some other people's perspective on it. But that essentially is what came up in that conversation that Kwame Brown was having with Hassan Campbell. It's the double talk. It's the double talk of it. You know, they do that all the time. They'll talk about the community. They'll talk about this. They'll talk about that. They'll try to speak about some positive stuff. They'll make a 15-song album. They'll slip in one positive song, and then, you know, a few songs about pussy, and then the rest of it is murder, murder, kill, kill, sell drugs, kill, kill. But then getting an interview, and then like it annoys me. Like, for example, I listened to Jeezy talk. He was getting interviewed on the Daily Show. And I was never a big fan, never really listened to his music. But the first time I heard him in an interview, late to the party, is it wasn't even that long ago. You know, it was some years ago when he was on the Daily Show with Trevor Noah getting interviewed, and I was like, wow, he's a pretty intelligent guy. You know, I came away from listening to the interview thinking he's pretty intelligent. I went and listened to his music, and I was like, nigga, what, huh? It was just like listening to two different people talk. And that's you know, so it's so many things that annoy me that rappers do. It's like just an inherent amount of just double talking that they do. It's like they know that they saying a bunch of bullshit, and that's why when they get in interviews, they will talk like they got some sense, some of them, but they know on the album they dumbing it down. They dumbing down their lyrics so niggas will buy it. It's like it's a very cringe-worthy thing to me when I just look at that. Because I know some of these dudes is smart. Some of them actually went to school, but they got to pretend to be dumb so they can sell more albums. Snuggle 668 in the building. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. That first word that's bleeped out. I'm down with no limit. I'll ride for the cause. You looked up those lyrics? Because I don't believe you know them by heart. I don't believe if I put you up here that you can sing all those lyrics free, you know, just off the top of your head. You wrote them down. You looked them up, you Googled them, you copied and pasted them. That's what happened, Snuggles. You're not fooling nobody. No.
Am I the only one? Am I the only one right now imagining the Snuggle Bear rap?
Hi, I'm Snuggle.
If that Snuggle Bear spit them lyrics, It's funny just how long it took for me to realize them was lyrics. But if the Snuggles Bear spit that would be funny. That would legit be funny.
So Bernard, I saw somebody in the chat mention say something about like I'm trying to find the comment, but I guess they were trying to say that there's no legitimate reason why you need to have a street smart or something like that, have street smarts. So I completely disagree with that. Like here's a quick example, Bernard. So here in Atlanta, there's this thing called sliding. Okay, I didn't actually know about this until I moved to Atlanta. So it's basically a method of stealing cars, right? So a lot of times people will be at the gas station and somebody slide in their car while they're pumping gas, right? And drive off, right? It actually became common enough that they started writing legislation for it to punish the carjackers harder for it. It's called sliding, right? So I can tell you right now that could never happen to me, right? And I think like that may seem very subtle, but it's just because a big part of being like street smart is watching your surroundings at all times, and it's almost ingrained in me at this point where like I just you would never catch me lacking like that. You know what I'm saying? So that's just a simple example of like when I hear of those situations, I'm like, how the hell did somebody slide in your car and drive off? Like for me, that's just like I cannot imagine that happening to me. But I think that's so it's a simple example, but I think it happens by the way everywhere. It's not just in the hood; it's happening everywhere in Atlanta, right? So anyway, that's just a simple example I wanted to say. It's like saying that you don't like street smart is not a requirement. I'm not saying you need to be a thug. Again, I'm not glorifying thug behavior or just going around killing people and that bullshit. But I'm saying that there is something that can be gained from being in an environment where you have to essentially learn to survive. I'm not even trying to glorify it. I'm just saying I'm just kind of stating a fact. There is something that I find that you gain from that. That you learn to really stay on your toes.
Yeah, but okay. Well, see, here's the thing. Some of that is common sense. Like when I was in Florida, we went down to I'm getting the beaches confused, but the strip by one of the beaches where black folks hang out at. I don't know if that was South Beach or anyway. The one that niggas basically took over. That we had went down by that one. We went to like 3 or 4 different beaches. But we had went and was hanging out down and around that one, and so my head on the swivel the whole time because we out of town, and it's a lot of stuff where it's a mixture of people just having a good time. Some black people just having a good time on vacation. Then it's some of the locals that's from the hood that may be out there trying to scam or pull some BS on the traveling idiots. So my head was on the swivel the whole time. And when me and my woman, we was walking, and it was a weird situation. I bet if I Googled it, I'll find out exactly what the scam is, because I could tell it was some scammy stuff that was brewing. Right on the sidewalk. It was kind of at night, but it was still enough lights where you could see it. It was like right there, just plain and obvious, like $6 on the ground. Just out, just open, just clear, just there. And I'm walking up on it, and I like pointed at it like, damn, what the hell? It's $6 just sitting there chilling on the ground. And it is reflex still to want to bend down and pick up. You just see some money laying on the street. It's a reflex to want to just bend down and pick it up, especially that much. It's more than $5. You naturally, instinctively just gonna, reach down and want to pick it up. But then I looked around and I saw these 2 dudes just leaning on a car like they've been there a while. And I'm sitting there thinking, I know damn well they saw that money. So why is the money still there? Why haven't they picked it up? So I was just instantly just like Terminator, just scanning the whole environment. And I'm like, nah. I was like, no, keep going. We ain't picking this money up. Because I don't know what was going on, but I just could tell something was up. It was some scam or some way to rob you related. I don't know if they was gonna, if after the money got picked up, one of them was gonna act like, hey, damn, I lost my money, and they'll try to get the money back, and then they're like, no, it was more than that. You took more money. I had more money. I thought I was sitting there in my mind thinking it was gonna be something like that. Probably easier to rob somebody and make it look like they stole from you. I don't know what the hell the scam was, but I could tell something was up because they were sitting there chilling, leaning on an SUV, with money in range for them to see it. So I'm like, if they ain't picking it up, I ain't picking it up. So now is that street smarts? Now somebody can say that was street smart, but I don't think being initially from the hood is what made me realize that it's probably a bad fucking idea to pick up that $6 off the ground.
No, you're right.
I don't know if I can attribute or credit that to the hood.
No, you're right. And again, I probably this falls on me. I probably did a bad job articulating my point, right? I'm not saying you need to be from the hood, and I'm not even trying to glorify it. I'm just saying that I guess I just came in to provide that perspective that as much as for me, like I'm not going to go around glorifying it. I can look at it and say, okay, well, at least I gained that from it, right? Like at least I gained the fact that, because, you know, being around a lot of nerds, I see a lot of not street smart behavior all the time, right? And this is across the board, not just, you know, white. Like I see, you know, black nerds, etc. And I'm using nerds here as a kind of
you actually see actual card carrying black nerds ending up in situations like that, and they just like, oh, $6.
I've been in situations with, you know, with other dudes, like black dudes who are nerds, and I'm not holding anything against them. It's just, it is what it is. Like where I could see a situation, I'm just like, wow, how did you not spot this? How did you not see, you know? Okay, here's another quick example, right? Like I like going to cigar lounges, right? And there's a few cats that a lot of times, you know, we'll meet up at the cigar lounges, and a lot of times for women, when somebody has a lot of noise.
I think that's sincere cracking up. I'm gonna mute you up. I'm gonna go to you next.
But basically, a lot of times at these cigar lounges, you know, you have a lot of chicks who show up, and their whole goal is just to try to find a dude to finesse. Like let's just be honest about it. If you've been in that environment, you know what I'm talking about. And a lot of times, I'm looking at these dudes like you can't tell that she's just trying. You know, she just sees you as a target right now. You know, but I think there's a part of them where they don't get that kind of attention all the time. So for them, it's just like they don't know what to do. Like when they see a fine chick just trying to, but really she doesn't really care about him. She just sees him as a dude that probably has money, right? And she's trying to finesse him.
You ever see the situation? You ever see the situation where thugs are being finessed and use his dumb muscle to go out and kill somebody?
Sure. Yeah. You spot on.
How street smart is that?
Say what?
How street smart is that?
Not. It's not. I'm not trying to glorify. I'm just pointing out that for me, I can spot that because I've seen this behavior before. I've seen this behavior. I know how these women, you know, how they plot, etc. Because I've seen that. It's harder for me to fall for that in that environment. Whereas these guys,
what I'm saying is that being from the street don't really necessarily protect you from, you know, these tricks and games that women play.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But I'm taking specific examples here, right? Like, and not in every case. This is not going to work in every case. Again, I was just trying to provide like some context for what I'm saying, right? But again, you guys are correct here. I'm not trying to disagree with you guys. I think you guys are 100% correct here. I'm just trying to provide the perspective that, at least for me, when I look at it, and I look at a lot of my peers who are nerds just like me, a lot of times I'm just like, damn, like this guy has been so sheltered his entire life. He hasn't seen anything, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing per se, but it's like you can see the types of situations somebody like that can end up in just because they've been so sheltered. Now, does that mean that the solution is that they should have been in the hood? Absolutely not. That's not my point. I'm not saying they should have been in the hood. I'm just saying that I noticed that difference. That's all.
You're cracking up.
Why are you under the assumption that okay?
You got to mute up, brother. You got all kind of background. When I call on you,
I'm here.
I know, no, you're not talking. Somebody else was talking, and then you just had background noise. So I'm gonna call on you in a second. Just mute up until you call, Don.
Go ahead, the game changer. I want to hear what you had to say.
No, I was just saying there's a lot of assumption going on with nerds that you have there. I mean, one is sheltered. So basically the assumption is, and this is part of the tropes I was talking about earlier, is that nerds are more sheltered than, you know, street dudes. You know?
Oh, okay. So let me clarify that as well. I'm not making a general statement. I'm saying from my experience. Like this is just from my personal experience. I'm not making a general statement about nerds. I mean, I don't underestimate anybody, period. Like I don't underestimate anybody. So I'm not even making a general statement about nerds here. I'm just saying that from my experience, from what I've observed personally, I've seen this in real life. And that's why I'm like, okay, well, why is it that I don't have a lot of these same problems that a lot of these guys have? And the one thing I can point to a lot of times is the fact that they're just so sheltered. Now, does this apply across the board? I don't believe it does. I don't know. I'm not making a general statement. Is my point.
Yeah, no worries. But I do want to point out like who's getting finessed more. in the whole nerd versus street dude thing. So a nerd has a future. You know, if he gets finessed in a cigar lounge, at least he was able to go to the cigar lounge. Somebody who is, you know, in jail getting shanked on cell block D, he got finessed up his entire fucking life. Also, he could be quote unquote cool, you know, for a couple of years. I think that there's one group that was more finessed than others.
We're in complete agreement. We're in complete
Wizard X in the building said Adrian Broner's career tanked because he could not walk away from the hood life. I personally don't know nothing about that, but I never thought he was that good. He used to try to do a bad Floyd Mayweather impression in the ring, but he didn't have the defensive skill. So eventually he got caught by, I think that was Marcos Maidana, who knocked him out and has been downhill since then. So I didn't think he was that good. I think that's why he tanked. But shout out to you. Elaine's Journey Through Life says, hey, Bernard, love the topic. Hugs and kisses from Southern, what is that, Ley, Philippines? What is that game changer? You probably
know. I don't know. I never heard of Ley.
I mean, you've been to
probably a smaller province.
You probably
I've been to the Philippines, but I haven't been there.
Mm-hmm. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate that. We about to
somebody.
Oh, go ahead, real. Well, you going to sincere.
Somebody said nerds are immune to death. No one is immune to death. However, I'm just saying that if someone was coerced into decisions that made them die sooner, or that made them get incarcerated younger, or incarcerated at all, or something like that, then chances are that person probably is not as savvy as they might suggest.
Yeah, nerds aren't immune to death, but they're less likely to be in a death-defying situation than somebody who's purposefully, deliberately living the thug life.
Exactly. And if And the reason because they're landscaping outside. And the reason why I brought that up is because I want people to be clear on when Ruckus was talking about who's being manipulated by women the most, you know, or he was stating that one group is not street smart because they're being manipulated by women. But I would say that there is a particular group that is being manipulated by women to a life-threatening degree.
Yeah.
To a life-impacting degree. I mean, you're basically saying some woman, you know, in the 9th grade said, you know, only losers go to high school and you drop out. Who got duped worse? Like there is no, okay, somebody got took for $100 in a cigar lounge. That's nothing compared to a guy walking around with an 8th grade education. Like, you know, because somebody gave him some in the 9th grade. Or he didn't make it to the 9th grade, excuse me. Like it doesn't compare to the level of manipulation or manipulated they have been through.
Yeah, I agree. Those situations where somebody involving a woman where one guy ends up dead and the other guy ends up in jail, no nerds were harmed in the making of that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. I mean, who want to be Ayana's cousin? Remember Ayana's cousin got his ass whipped by Kane?
Oh yeah. Got you.
I can see. I can see game changer. Like I agree with you 100%. Again, I think I probably did a poor job at getting my point here. But at the same time, I have to say that some of the folks in the chat I think have a problem understanding nuance because basically I completely agree with you here.
Yeah, no,
I'm just providing the I think more so anecdotal experience that I've had and why I don't completely, or at least why. Because I was trying to, I guess where I came from was I was trying to analyze why I've done that, right? So as Bernard was talking, I'm trying to understand, okay, well, that's a good point. You guys make a good point. Why have I done that? And just through that analysis, I'm realizing, okay, this is probably why, because I see that as it's not a full-blown negative, even though I think there's way more negatives than positive from that I could, you know, attribute to the hood, right? So it's just a bit of nuance, but I'm in complete agreement with your game changer.
Right on. All right, since you're cracking up, you got the floor, you got the mic.
What's going on, Bernard? What's up, guys? I just want to chime in. It's all about the environment that you grow up at. It shouldn't define because you're a nerd, you know, as an issue. You know what I'm saying? That's how I feel on the street side. You know what I'm saying? How can you define, you know, you being a nerd from your environment? Because your environment is an experience. and what you go by in life. That's how I look at it. You know, you can't say anybody's better in the environment. It's all poverty. It's all the less fortunate. You know, that's how I look at it.
I'm confused, brother. So, because an experience is separate. An experience is what happens in the environment. The environment is where the experience happens. So they're not the same. You know.
Can I say this? How is it a difference because you're a nerd and you're living in the hood, but by somebody being a thug and living in the hood, you're both still in the same environment at the end of the day?
Yeah. Well, you have something in common.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, but what does it really? I mean, how much does that matter?
It matters a lot because you're in an environment that it's rough. So if you can't handle somewhere that's to be rough, why put yourself in that position?
Well, most people are born in that position. Like when I was in the hood, my parents put me in that position.
Okay. And did you make a way out of that position to be out of that environment?
Yeah.
So it's not really the environment's fault. It's the individual actually.
Not when that individual is a kid.
I agree with that. That's why I always never understood like the difference in why people want to talk about the hood being as a bad point, because that's people's product. You know, the old saying, product of your environment.
Well, I was about
your environment and you become a bad product from that environment, then yeah, we can talk about the environment if it's producing bad products.
But what I'm saying, Bernard, is even though it might be a bad environment, you could still come out and turn out good from that experience being there.
Of course, there's a percentage who's going to turn out good, but if we can look at most people not turning out good, then
that is true, Bernard. That is true. Not all will turn out good.
Yeah, no, it's always going to be a percentage that's going to end up doing well, regardless of where they started. But if you take 1,000 people and you give them a bad start, the percentage rate of how many of them, 25 years later will be doing bad compared to the percentage rate of another 1,000 people who had a good or mediocre start, that their percentage rate is going to be higher over there. So yeah, we can look at it and break it down like that. Obsidian was dropping a link to this video. I tried to listen to 20 seconds of it when I was on mute, so I think it's relevant to this conversation. We will play a little bit of it.
Well, Bernard, it was time stamped. I think he wanted you to go to 7:18.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that.
No worries.
I'm glad you said that.
Did I say anything wrong with my perspective?
Oh no, you. Well, I didn't exactly. Well, it was something slightly wrong with it when you were saying don't criticize. Okay, I'll sum up what you were saying. Where you're saying people shouldn't always criticize the hood because some people can grow up in the hood and turn out bad, but some people can come up and grow up there and turn out good. So for that reason, you shouldn't criticize it. Is that what you were saying?
Yes, that's what I was trying to get to. Yep, Bernard, you got it.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's some problems embedded in there, because just because if the zero steady state outcomes for most people in America is, regardless of where they come, if half of them turn out to be decent productive human beings and the other half don't, if that's how it is everywhere else, but in the hood only 20% turn out to be productive human beings and 80% and the other 80% don't, then we got to look at the statistical outcomes of growing up in the hood. So that's why you can criticize the overall environment. However, the people in that environment is what make and shape the environment. So that's the factor that got to get averaged in the equation.
Well, I think Bernard, also another reason why I think the criticism is actually necessary, by the way, is that there's way more, to you guys' point, there's way more glorification of this bullshit a lot of times than than just like the fact that some people can come out good. Just a few days back, or I guess a week ago or so, there was like this there's this channel on YouTube. I think it's like Hood Vlogs or something. They put out this video about the Foster House projects in Harlem, and this girl, man, like she's on the video, right? And she's, you know, this hood chick. They're going on about, you know, how tough it is to live out there and how easy it is to steal people's shit. And like she's talking about it with so much like excitement. And I'm watching this video like, you should be fucking embarrassed by this shit, like by everything you're saying. But she's talking about it with so much excitement. And so I think to the overall point that you guys are making here, I think a lot of times the criticism is necessary because there's way more glorification where like everything she was saying was just absolutely terrible, but she was basically glorifying all of it and with so much excitement, you know. So
Game changer. Who said play the
No,
from
the original link had a timestamp on it, but Obsidian saying play from the beginning, so it's his link, so he knows what to do.
All right. Now I probably won't end up playing the whole thing, but I'll play it. I mean, the first part of it that I saw.
Hey, Bernard.
Definitely good and relevant to this conversation. Yeah, who was that?
This Pablo.
Oh, go ahead, Pablo.
Can I give him a little statement off, and then you can play the video?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So, to what Uncle Ruckus was saying, I think it was my comment in the chat that he might have been referring to, in that a lot of black men, a great number of black men in the United States suffer from hypertension.
That's true.
From high blood pressure. And one of the major reasons why is called hypervigilance. Always looking out for this, always looking out for that, having your head on a swivel. And it doesn't just stop at being in the hood. Black men who achieve and who have a lot of the high value men that Kevin speaks about suffer from this as well. Here's why. Because once they attain a certain level of success, then there are so many people, institutions, and individuals coming at them that can either take it away from them, damage their success, damage their reputations, and sink whatever progress that they've made. My uncle, who was in Kevin Samuel's former business, he was a telecommunications sales manager. It's a high power, high stress occupation. It pays very well. He was a vice president of corporate sales for Verizon, and he died before his 55th birthday. He had a wife and family. So all of that hypervigilance that you're doing, looking out for this and looking out for that, although it served a purpose for survival in that environment, it can't be sustained over a lifetime. It will kill you. It's one of the reasons I suffer from it, and I had to begin to take more and more trips out of the United States just to decompress, to release the hypervigilance that I experienced being in the United States as a black man. So it might seem like it's functional, but it's really not over the long term. It's survival mechanism, but it's not meant to be maintained long term.
I agree with that. That was so true.
So
I
agree with
journey through life, says Bernard. You missed my super chat. Don't make me spank you. Look, woman, I do the spank. I don't get spanked. I do the spanking over here. What the hell you thought this was? Anyway.
trying to do that domestic discipline.
All right.
But you read her super chat.
She must have sent another one.
Oh, okay.
Either that or she just needed an excuse to talk about spanking. I don't want it other. But all right.
All I wanted to say, Bernard, was my view on how I look at it. Is it wrong?
I disagree with it. Yeah.
Okay. I didn't mean. I'm not perfect. I just give my outlook and opinion.
You good.
Okay.
You good.
Agree to disagree, brother. Yeah.
Yeah. No biggies. No biggies.
Can I say before you hit play? Can I say something on what Ruckus was saying?
Right.
When you're talking about excitement, I've heard that too. What I found is that for some women, the excitement that they're referring to is very similar to the excitement that video game players feel when they are playing like Call of Duty or something like that. It's a risky adventure where there's no actual risk to the person. meaning it's okay to, go into a dangerous situation and get blown up, and then you just play it again. See, for them, when they're messing with a certain type of dude and they live vicariously through their stories, much like a person who's playing video games is living vicariously through their video game avatar, they're basically saying, oh, this story happened, let me gossip to my friends. And then when the guy gets killed, they say, this happened, he died, let me go get another thug. And they continue this because they get the same thrill from it that people get playing video games, even though men are actually dying.
So whose fault is that, the woman's or the man's?
Both.
Okay, I understand.
All right. We about to roll some of this beautiful bean footage.
And that's yours originally. You don't have to shout out anybody.
What'd you say?
I said that's your original thing. You don't have to shout out anybody. You don't have to shout a nigga out every time.
Shout who? What you talking about?
Nothing.
Oh, okay. I don't know who you're talking. Okay.
I'll put it in the back.
All right. Yeah. Put it in the back. I don't know what's going on. But all right. All right. Rolling the not so beautiful bean footage. Let's go. Fair use.
No. It's this redneck Tom Sowell point that I tend to avoid because I don't know what to do with it, which is in the Black community, there is a value placed on being a badass motherfucker. Some of this is that a critical mass of people salute these men for the resistance. The idea being that that's the Black thing. You don't put up with any shit. I don't know what to do with that. Does it come from hillbilly culture? Probably. Are there cultural differences among people? Yes. And that clearly is an element in the water in Black culture. Crazy motherfucker. Okay. Richard Pryor in the benign sense. But then it comes out with this business of resisting arrest and people saluting it as an indication of your masculinity, that you're kind of saluting Black oppression in the past. Are we supposed to say that Black men need to get over that? And then the question is, would there be a point? It's kind of like saying that people need to stop using the N-word as a term of affection. You can have a nice panel about it, but it's not. I remember once I was talking to a Black audience in DC, and I was suggesting that.
Let's talk about what he said right there in Game Changer. You touch on that a lot when you talk about how it's incentivized, being that badass. Oh, and now I figured out the what they talking about, because I said roll the beautiful. I always say roll the not so beautiful bean footage, and that was one of my favorite commercials, of roll that beautiful bean footage. And I've always said that before Tommy. Yeah. Before Tommy was saying, and I never said it on YouTube because I don't have a YouTube channel, but I've always had an affinity for that line. Whenever I play anything, I say roll the bean footage or the beautiful bean footage, or on my show I say the not so beautiful bean footage. I say it to the point to where when you talked about a shout out, it didn't even occur to me that Tommy says it. It just that's far removed from my mind.
No, I know. I was just saying that because he's not really. You see how he handled the situation where he felt that somebody took his stuff before, so that's why I brought that up. But it wasn't a major.
Yeah, no, that ain't no thing. Yeah. Yep.
But you were saying about.
Go ahead about what you heard so far. Go ahead.
Oh no. Yeah, it is incentivized. Well, it's pseudo incentivized because what I've come to notice is that the incentives aren't really that in real life. Somebody mentioned earlier that there is a sexual incentive in high school. It's very hard to determine if there is one for those types, because what you can't really say if they would have gotten the girls that they got, were they not in that lifestyle. You can't really say that. You can't really say what their sex life would have been if they didn't live that lifestyle. So it's really hard to say, but there isn't much about their love lives from what I've seen, in high school and after high school that is to be envied. There's definitely something to be envied about a fraternity members or a athlete's sex life, and it's pretty apparent that they get it like that. Yeah, because they are athletes or fraternity members. Thugs and stuff, not so much. Not so much. But on TV, they got it good. On TV, they all live the music video lifestyle, and they never, ever, ever sleep with fat chicks. But in real life, they sleep with the women that nobody else want to sleep with, and they glorify that.
That's so true.
That's what I've noticed. So when you talk about incentives, it's like it's not a real incentive. It's a promise of incentive. It's a promise that if you do this, you'll live this music video lifestyle like Tupac, after he clowned around on the underground. You'll live this lifestyle, but it's an unkept promise because you actually don't. In real life, you have 3 fat baby mamas.
That is so funny, Bernard, what he said.
Yeah.
but it's so true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like saying that people need to stop using the N-word as a term of affection. You can have a nice panel about it, but it's not. I remember once I was talking to a Black audience in DC, and I was suggesting that, this business of going to pieces every time somebody uses the N-word, one way that we might get past that is to just stop going to pieces and have the pride to understand that some word cannot make us cry. And it wasn't a tough session, but one Black guy said, well, I hear what you're saying, brother, but I'm a tough motherfucker. I like to get up and get angry. And he stood up, and the whole room starts clapping, especially the women. And I get it. I understand the humor. I understand the cultural strain. I'm not that deracialized. But the other side of that is something like Ahmaud Arbery trying to take the gun, or I've already said it, Dante Wright trying to jump into the car instead of just standing there and taking what he was about to be given. He shouldn't have been killed, but still. And if the idea is going to be it's the proper Black thing to resist, and how dare you kill somebody when they do it, there's just nowhere to go from there. And yet I can tell part of it is the idea that to resist arrest, and if the idea is going to be it's the proper Black thing to resist, and how dare you kill somebody when they do it, there's just nowhere to go from there. And yet I can tell part of it is the idea that to resist arrest is to be a soldier, that's what somebody with balls does. That's the Black thing to do. He's not some namby-pamby white guy who just says, yes, officer. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know whether there's any point in saying that something should change. I'm not a badass motherfucker, clearly. And so I'm certainly not the one who's going to say, stop acting like one. I don't know what to do with it, but clearly it's part of it. It's the Black guy's thing to resist.
Well, John, do y'all think he kind of like treading carefully around saying, don't be that dude? It's almost like he just don't want to say, yeah, you're being stupid. You're resisting for no reason. Every direction or order, or however we're going to call it, that police officer ever gave me. I mean, granted, shit happens, but everything the police officer never asked me to do something that I thought was unreasonable, even though I was asked to step out of a car one time and I didn't understand why. But I stepped out the car, and then what happened, and ultimately nothing happened. I've had to get out the car twice. And it's like, so if somebody is making a big production out of it, no, I ain't getting out the car, I ain't doing this, I ain't doing that, and then it get to the point to where I'm not even gonna get into the legalistic mumbo jumbo at when it becomes resisting arrest if you weren't being arrested and all of that. It's like, yeah, being that person, that bad motherfucker is ultimately what's adding to the problem, because I think a lot of Black people ignorantly look at it as a fist in the air against oppression, defying the cops, whereas y'all know we talk about here, know your rights, and if your rights are being violated, go ahead and let them violate your rights and go and fight for your rights, standing on your own 2 feet in a courtroom instead of trying to get into an MMA wrestling match in the middle of the streets with the police. That's not where you fight for your rights. So maybe he's not doing this, but it sounds like he's just walking on eggshells around saying, "You niggas just being stupid." Am I interpreting this wrong?
A little bit. I think that, in my opinion, a little bit. I think that he's walking on eggshells to try and not to say that they had it coming or they deserved it.
Okay.
The victims of police shooting. I think that that's the eggshell feel that you're getting, the eggshell vibe that you're getting from him. But
Yeah.
I think that he's directly saying, "Don't be stupid."
Okay.
It seems like he's holding back, Bernard. He's not saying what he really wants to say.
Yeah, and I think that that's the reason because he don't want to sound like he's trying to justify the police shooting, and it's kind of hard to it's kind of hard to say that they were stupid, but they didn't deserve to get shot without
Yeah, that's true, and we deal with that a lot in this space because we will call it out if somebody does something stupid and they get shot. Then, oh, so you saying he deserved to die? No, we're not saying. He deserved to die, but what we're saying is that he for damn sure contributed to the circumstances that put the cop in a bad position where they made a tough, probably the wrong decision. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. So you see how hard it is to say, though.
But
without
that's what he's walking on eggshells on. Yeah. I think you're right.
So Bernard,
shout out to Clue. Shout out to Clue real quick. It says Tommy discovered beans VR. Please show respect. Okay, right on.
Can I say something, Bernard?
Yeah, go ahead.
How come, and this is for everybody on the panel, why do the black men react like that when police come? They want to resist when you have somebody that has a weapon that can kill you.
All right, so that's actually, so I was going to ask you a question regarding that, Bernard. Like, because your statement, I think for the most part, I agree with it. That your rights are being violated. You deal with it in the courthouse, right?
Yeah.
But do you see it as is it just purely that black and white, or are there cases? Because there are certainly cases where you don't even know it. Like if a cop is just completely out of line and they do have a weapon, that's the other point. They do have a weapon where it's like you don't have. Let's say you don't have witnesses, and that could back what happened, et cetera, et cetera. Should you just really stay there and potentially risk losing your life for a cop that's out of control, right? Like, I'm not saying that's what the case.
Are you saying if the cop came to you out of control with his hand on the gun? I can understand it getting to a point where if you literally think you're about to be killed by somebody, then yes, you have right to fight back. What I see in most of those situations is somebody not in a situation where they should think that they're literally about to be killed by somebody, but they are being asked to do something that they don't think is necessary, like step out of the vehicle, so they don't want to step out of the vehicle. Or if the cop, if they're getting placed under arrest and they don't want to be under arrest, typically if the cop is placing you under arrest, he's not about to just execution style, shoot you in the back of the head when you turn around to get handcuffed. So a lot of the times that, yes, when you're resisting arrest, and keep in mind, now I got to walk on eggshells. This is not including the, I forget the name of the guy, the guy who the guy shot by Amber Geiger, the white lady. I'm not talking about that situation. I'm not talking about Philando Castillo.
Tamir Rice.
We're not talking about Tamir Rice. We're talking about the situations where it escalated because the cop gave somebody a direction that they didn't want to follow. So in those situations, no, the person is helping to create and contribute to the circumstances. I say this all the time. If we built Wakanda today, I would like for us to have law and order in Wakanda, and every now and then the Wakandan PD would give a fellow Wakandan citizen some directions that they didn't like or did not want to follow, and put the Wakandan PD in a situation where if they have to arrest you and now you're resisting and now you're tussling and wrestling around on the ground, and so those situations are going to happen with people fighting and resisting against police. I'll give this example right here. I was just traveling. The TSA lady, okay, it was a black chick. Actually, it was a white man who did the same thing previously on a previous flight. But on my way back to Michigan from Florida, the TSA lady, she was an outright asshole, complete through and through. Like it was no other way around it. She just sitting there with an ass, like just being a complete asshole, standing there like she'd been there for 20 hours and her feet hurt, just taking it out on everybody. And it was the time, you know how you gotta, take your shoes off and put your stuff into the basket or do this or do that, the little stuff you gotta do. And I didn't quite do it quite right. And then she like kind of snapped at me and said some fuzzy shit, like basically talked to me like I was her damn son. And as much as I wanted to say, who the fuck you think you're talking to? And I wouldn't have been wrong. But at the same time, if I'm in that situation, if I come off as hostile, they can find any reason to not let me on that plane to come home. So I'm kind of in a fucked up situation where, yeah, she being a bitch, but I kind of got to just take it. But if her being a bitch goes too far to the point to where I feel like I've been violated in some legal type of way, I could sue that whole damn airlines. That's where I'm going to fight. I'm not going to fight some random chick on a power trip. I'm not going to fight her. But if her power trip goes too far to where now I can fight this whole airlines for the shit that she pulling on me, then that's where my fight is going to be, with a lawsuit in court, not making sure that I one up this bitch that's talking shit. Like that's where niggas get stupid, thinking they got to one up the damn stormtrooper. No, take that shit to Darth Sidious to bring down the whole damn empire. Don't get into a damn shouting match with a stormtrooper.
I would have said I would have said that white women make better TSA agents and ran.
Okay, but your ass would have got tackled and not let you wouldn't be able to come back home.
Why'd you say that?
Yo, game changer be cracking me up, man.
But I get you can't show no hostility at an airport.
No, I get you. Yeah.
You gotta just take whatever TSA is on. You gotta take that shit or risk not getting on your damn plane, and you don't want to risk that. So
I think what sucks about this, Bernard, is that it's just very tricky. Like I think in most cases you're correct. It's just one of those things where it's hard for me to draw a very strong line, because I can think of a number of cases, even in my own personal life, unfortunately, where it's just like you don't know what to do in that scenario. Like you just don't know what to do. And I'm not gonna go. First of all, I'm definitely never gonna go and try to wrestle a cop or anything like that. That's a suicide mission. But still, I still think it's like a lot of times you feel like you're in a impossible situation. I had one case where an Atlanta police cop stopped my car, and then he basically told me that he smelled marijuana. Now I don't smoke weed, and I don't have people in my car, so it's pretty much impossible for my car to smell like weed, because I never have weed and I never have people in my car, right? So it's like, once the person says that, now I'm already thinking, okay, he's fishing for a reason to search my car right now. And it's like, it puts me in this very uncomfortable situation, because I'm like, well, what if he, searches my car and plants something in there? What if, like, all my mind is just racing and I'm thinking of all these things. But at the end of the day, if he tells me to step out, I got to step out. And then what if he does plant something in my car now? Because he came from the jump saying something that's objectively false, and I don't know how to counter that. So this is where I just feel like it's very impossible. Like sometimes you feel like you're in an impossible situation, and then on top of that, like if you're, in my case, for example, I have a license to carry a firearm. Now, on top of that, he could do anything and then just say I tried to do something to him. It's his word against mine, especially if I'm dead. Like at that point, that scares me even more, even though I'm licensed and I would never point. Anyway, I'm just saying, like a lot of times these situations to me, they seem like impossible sometimes. Like they just seem, it's like, what do you actually do in this scenario?
Agreed.
Yeah. I mean, if it plays out the way you described it, you're in a bad situation. If you knew you were doing 55 in a 60, and he said you were doing 75 in a 60, and he said you got a broken tail light, and you looked at your tail light right before you got it. Okay, he came to the door lying, and then he asked you to step out the car. It's like that's a situation where he on some corrupt bullshit. So if you're in a situation where somebody on some corrupt BS, and then yeah, what do you do in that situation? That's an impossible situation.
You need to get.
I would
Can
argue
I
that
say
that
something,
situation
Bernard?
does not even really happen as much as people like to make it seem, but that is a situation where is you fully legit to be all on a swivel or whatever that word Pablo used that he said black men suffer from. Yeah. But go ahead, sincere cracking up. I'm gonna go
Is
to
it
number 16, then I'm gonna play some more of the video.
is it because everybody on the panel is because the people don't have respect for the officers? Why the reason why they react like that when they do get approached?
Yeah, I think because of our history, society at large, because it has been a bad guy against the black people for so long, that we just kind of run with that and say any action against society is good, it's noble. Like resisting arrest is the same. Like Martin Luther King resisted arrest. It's like that type of feeling. So I think that we haven't gotten over that way of thinking yet. But Bernard is right to where we do need a society of law and order. That we can't really function without it. No people can function without it.
You know why? You know why I say that? Because I know if I show the officer respect, I can get away. If I act a fool, I'm getting locked up.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm
What do you
saying.
mean by get away? Like, have you committed a crime? Are you
Oh
guilty of something?
no. Just in general when they approach.
See, yeah, I don't look at it as I'm getting away when I don't
I'm
get
sorry for
arrested.
saying that.
Yeah, I haven't done that. I mean, well, if I've done something, I was speeding, and I used to I got a lot of no proof of insurance tickets on my record. I didn't used to ride when I used to ride dirty, but but yeah, so I'm like, hey, okay, I'm guilty with not having the proof of insurance, and I was doing 80 and a 70. Okay, I want to be here, calm, cool, collected, chill. He write me the ticket, then I gotta go pay the ticket, and that's just that. I don't look at it as I got away. I did what I did, and I got charged the proper penalty per the law for what I did. All of that is normal. It's not a. I mean, I understand that you probably didn't mean it like that, but it's not a getaway versus not getaway situation. I didn't do nothing worthy of being taken to jail.
Yeah,
So
I was
there's
just
that.
saying, Bernard, like, ever like in the past, ever being apprehended by police, if you show them respect, they treat you a little different if you don't resist.
Yeah, no, resisting arrest is stupid.
It is.
Yeah, it's the dumbest thing you can do. The best thing you could do if you know that you shouldn't be being arrested is let them arrest you and then sue their ass, take their ass
Yep.
to court.
Yep.
That's the best thing you could possibly do. I said it once, I'll say it again. Black men need to stop trying to fight for their rights in a goddamn wrestling match with the police in the middle of the streets. That's not where you fight. That's not where grown ass men fight. You fight standing on your 2 feet in a courtroom. That's where you fight. That's how America works. Number 16, you got it.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, as far as this topic, I would say I've been procrastinating on myself, but I think everybody should get a dash cam and then install it in their car because it's a very good record if you do have to take anything to court to prove like a he said, she said type of thing. But if it's some normal pulling over for something, just whatever, yeah, just comply. It's not gonna any resistance is not gonna make the cops say, "Oh, okay, I'll leave you alone." Like, nah, it's not gonna be like that. So yeah, just comply and fight it later. That's pretty much it.
Right on, right on. I'm gonna roll some more of the footage.
Oh no. I'll tell you, I'm working on the memoir. I really am, John. I'm trying to catch up with you. Maybe
Fair use, niggas. And I will shout out Tommy Sotomayor on the fair use, nigga. Fair use.
maybe if my book sells more than the sum of your books have sold, I will feel like I have pulled even with you. I'm praying. I'm praying. I'm just kidding. But I am in the grips of writing the memoir. So here's one thing that I've discovered about myself, and this is by way of supporting what you just said about badass motherfuckers. So in the 1980s, I got into trouble with cocaine. I got into trouble with an extramarital affair. I was in the habits of roaming the streets of inner city Boston, Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, buying drugs, hooking up, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. The most benign of it was playing chess until 3 o'clock in the morning on the street corner with a guy called Eddie, who used to make his living by selling little trinkets off of a tabletop in front of a Korean greasy spoon. Me and Eddie were buddies, and he loved to play chess. He loved to play 5-minute chess, and we'd get out there and we'd play. But that was the most benign of it. I was hanging in the hood with my peeps. I'm a professor at Harvard, hanging in the, 35 years old, hanging in the hood with my peeps. 37 years old, 40 years old, hanging in the hood with my peeps because I was a badass motherfucker because I could negotiate a seminar room over in Cambridge at the Kennedy School of Government by day, and a housing project where just about anything you wanted could be purchased for a price by night, and no one was the wiser. I was a badass motherfucker. I was like Superman. I would go into that telephone booth and I put on my uniform, cock my hat to the side, pull my collar up, get my walk together, get my slang, my code switching thing. You know how it is. And I could hang. I was authentically Black. John, you wrote a book with that title. I was authentically Black because I could hang in the hood. Now, how fucked up was that? Okay, that's why y'all need to buy the memoir. W.W. Norton and Company, spring of 2022. How messed up was that? So I am familiar with the syndrome. All right, I know what you're talking about. It's a disaster, is what I have to report from my own experience. It is an absolute. Suppose I had been gunned down. I was robbed several times at gunpoint in these years over there on the streets of Boston. Suppose I had lost my life to some trigger-happy, coked-up idiot trying to get the $20 out of my pocket. It could have easily happened. What a tragedy that would have been. What a waste that would have been, right? So important to me was my sense of continuity with my life from Chicago in the 1950s and the 1960s. That once I had become a tenured professor at Harvard, indeed the first African-American to hold the position of tenured professor of economics in that university's history, I was willing to throw it all away just to have the internal sense of authenticity that came from being a badass motherfucker. Now, here's what I'm here to tell you. It is a deep and profound problem in our culture. I'm talking about African Americans, this tendency. It should be opposed. It should be renounced. It should be denounced. It should be called out for what it is. There's no glory in it. You think this is politics? You think you're representing the angst of your enslaved ancestors? This is idiocy. It's infantile. It's a mistake.
And yet, see, this stuff is so hard. Orlando Patterson talks about this as the cool.
My good friend, and he's right.
Fair use. He spit some fire right there.
Those are bars.
Can I say something, Bernard?
Bars. By the way, Bernard, he actually named dropped my hood.
Can I say something, guys?
I'm from Mattapan, and he mentioned Mattapan.
Go ahead, whoever else is trying to get in.
I wanted to say the dude the guy in the blue shirt, I liked his story more better than the other guys because it's more relatable. It reached me more by hearing his story.
His story wasn't relatable to me because I've never been a PhD tenured professor at Harvard, and also ran the Carter.
It seemed like he was like a chess thug, like he was fresh.
What do you mean by chess thug?
Well, didn't he say he was playing chess and like running something in front of a Korean slop house? Like, I don't know what his sense was.
No, he was playing 5-minute chess and with somebody that ran something in front of him.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay,
yeah, but still,
I like the way he explained it.
He basically.
I like to explain it more. I like to explain it more.
I first learned of this story from Ike. Actually, Ike was the one who brought this up one time. That Grand Lowry was actually doing this. I had no idea. So it's crazy to hear that though. That for you to be a professor and then you just roaming around the hood trying to be a bad guy. That's crazy.
Well, I agree with what you were just saying, brother. But I also agree with what he was saying about this is not what you're doing is not like a civil rights act. It's not, this act of defiance against the system is not the same as what the ancestors were doing during the Civil War, or like I say, the Martin Luther King era. This is something different. It may feel like that when you're doing it, or if and when you're resisting arrest, but it's not the same type of struggle.
Also, too, I think it's like a little bit of almost like a guilt. It's like, I don't know if he's from the hood or where he's from, but it's almost like, I've made it. I'm in Harvard. I'm doing my thing, but it's like there's people back here and there in the hood that aren't. So like, let me come and show love. I don't know if it's a situation like that, but like, I know for some people, like, yeah, like they do feel that like pain, like, oh, like I'm doing well. I know people back in the hood, so they may not be hanging out on the street, but they're hanging out with their old friends, family, and then that will get them caught up. So it's like one of the things, like you just can't feel bad. Like you have to just cut yourself off. It's like, you made it. You have to stay out. That's pretty much it.
Mr. O, before I roll it, you want to say something?
Yeah, I was gonna say basically what older gentleman on this video says, basically what's been here in Chicago throughout our lives. Basically, I'm like the same similar way. I'm from Inglewood, so I'm coming from one of the worst neighborhoods in the entire country, and now here in Chicago, the lines are so blurred about who's so-called upper class and who's lower class, because even all the black neighborhoods that was consider the lines of blurred, everybody could make it into the hood. So even places like Hyde Park, where President Barack Obama lived for before he became president, some parts is now considered the hood. And we how the hell did this even happen? Like, this is Hyde Park. This is supposed to be like a place that you was esteemed to be part of, but that you esteemed to be from. Now they turned that into a gang infested neighborhood now too. It's just crazy that as black men we gotta be either a thug or a nerd, and if you a nerd, you basically a pariah, or you just outside of the whole black community because you ain't black.
I agree with that. That is so true.
But at the same time, we gotta start, we have to start separating each other, instead of trying to keep mixing back and forth as far as with the capable and the and people that have done something for themselves. We can't keep mixing for whatever reason with certain parts of the community that do want to live.
It won't happen because they tried to do this over 120, 130 years ago. W.E. Du Bois, Booker T. Washington, and the so-called gamblers and pimps had this discussion a long time ago, bro. It's just not going to even happen because now we even too far gone. I was really trying to chime in about the argument about this rap culture. Like BR said, we are literally the first real generation of kids born in the early 80s, the millennials born in the early 80s, mid 80s, and to the early 90s. We grew up in so-called quote-unquote thug culture. It's ingrained into our personalities, like it or not. Even when we go into corporate America, we want to go ahead and bang Tupac, ambitious as a rider, as our theme song, as we walking through these fucking corporate buildings and shit like that. We want to be corporate thugs. That's the whole image for the last 40 years. That's what women gravitate to in our community. You got to be both. But look, they still lean more towards sexually to the nigga that's uncontrollable, towing the guns, that's that they can easily control sexually because they got the protection provision from this goofy. Years later, they could come and find a nerd dude. Will they still apply today to go ahead and be their retirement plan? And now dudes in our generation have finally spoken up and caught on, and now the black community in turmoil because we was supposed to be the scapegoat. The millennial generation of males was supposed to be the scapegoat for all the fuckery that the Gen X and baby boomers had started up before us. And now the chickens are come home to roost. Millennial black men, we either gonna be the hero or the villain in these next 2 or 3 years.
Or it's I don't know. We can just be normal. I can't really speak for the hood because I was pretty much in the middle class lifestyle for most of my life, but I did. Have family members that were in the hood, so I would have like weird times where I was like, I'm getting taught by my dad to learn how to ride a bike, and then a week later, staying like the night over at one of my relatives, learning how to duck when you hear certain noises. So those times where I was like, yeah, this isn't cool. It's like I don't really want to deal with this type of stuff, and just throughout my life, whereas like I don't understand. Like I guess. Well, let me not even say that. I can't understand why people want to come back. It's like for me, like I've never been and I never want to be. Like I'm happy where I am. I don't need to be validated by anybody in an impoverished area that I'm like quote unquote black. Is like and that's the biggest thing. You just can't care. Like if a woman wants to do whatever with Pookie Ray Ray, whatever, let her. Because if she wasn't, like that's still like a certain mindset of why would you even do that. So even if she wasn't doing that, I wouldn't want to do it for her anyway. So you just gotta just like at a certain point you got like people just need to learn how to cut off bad people. And if that's to the point where you just stay away from certain areas completely, get rid of old friends, old family, or not old family, but just get rid of family.
Yeah, you got to. You got to get rid of
gotta
family
do
too,
it.
because look, you could say get rid of friends, but some of us have been indoctrinated by our family, our loved ones, our blood relatives. Let me go ahead and drop something to your ear. Like now, think from this perspective. Remember, we are we was people that was of slavery. Imagine when the slavery actually ended. Imagine them people from the South actually going to the North when with the first Great Migration. How you think they was accepted into the so-called North? You think they were fully accepted because they was old slaves? They were stuck with old ways and everything, and they try to migrate and intermingle with people that's already established in the North. You don't see how that play out today with people of esteem and recognition. They went to institution of high learning, they influence high society. You start getting these jigaboos that get hood rich off of lotteries or get contracts for being athletes or rappers, and they come into your establishment, fucking up your image that you already established previous generation before, and here they come by messing it up and overnight. How would you feel?
All right. All right. We're gonna roll some more of it. What the hell? Y'all don't know what to do with Buddy. Can't put every black man in a box. So it's a good thing we don't just put black men in a box. We accurately analyze behaviors and analyze and break down the good and or bad outcomes of those behaviors.
Nah, but y'all, it's like this: like either you in or you out. I mean, I did what I see Logic Spear. What's up, Logic Spear? But I feel what he's saying though. But look, you got to be both
Do
now.
you put black men in a box?
I can't really say put black man in a box, but it's like I
have you heard anybody up here? I don't know, real quick. Have you heard anybody up here just try to put black men in a box, or have you heard people give a honest, fair, and accurate critique of behaviors and outcomes of those behaviors? That's the conversations that we tend to have here, not a put black men in a box conversation. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I get what you're saying.
They're trying to pin a narrative on somebody. They're trying to.
Let me make another quick, I think more important point, by the way. I think another reason why it's actually important to disconnect, to detach ourselves from a certain group of the community is actually like there's actually a legal reason. Because nowadays, I actually know somebody this happened to where they're not a gang member or nothing like that, but just because they've been I guess photographed and caught around certain groups. There was a case that was going on, and basically he caught a conspiracy charge. Which again, I didn't even know you could charge somebody with something where you haven't caught them committing any crime whatsoever. But just because he was attached to those individuals, even though he's not a gang member, he's not a thug, none of that, he ended up in the case with a conspiracy charge. So there's actual reasons, more practical reasons to detach yourself from certain individuals than just like for your I guess your own protection and stuff like that.
Ain't that being classified as guilty by association?
I just know it's a conspiracy charge, so I don't know how. Like, I don't know the extra legal aspects of it, but I know he caught a conspiracy charge for something that they know that they have no evidence on him doing anything. He's not a thug. He's not a gang member. But just because he was associated with certain people, they caught him, dapping people up, whatever. They charge all of them, and then he got a conspiracy charge.
That was his fault.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying. There's a guilty by association that can happen too in the play.
But but here's the thing: is like if you are about something, or if you are like progression, like you are doing what you're supposed to do as an adult. Forget about being a black man or whatever, just doing what you're supposed to do as
As a man of society.
Yeah, you shouldn't be associating with people who are not. It's like regardless of what they're doing, some drug, do whatever. I don't care if you're just saying hi, whatever. You leave them alone because it could have been like, let's say not the cops. It could have been like a rival group or whatever start shooting, and then he gets hit with a stray. It's like he wasn't part of anything, but because of his associations, it doomed him. So it's just one of the things where again, you become something like, and I'm not just saying like you become some big CEO or whatever. If you just doing your thing and you becoming a productive member of society, then you need to cut yourself off from those that aren't. That's it.
I agree with that.
All right. We're about to roll the tape. But shout out to Deadly Raver. Excuse me, Deadly Raver in the building. He says, "What's this? Nobody hitting the super chat with all the fire dropping on the mic. Never fear, Deadly Raver is here." Shout out to Deadly Raver. Appreciate it. All right, about to roll the tape. Fair use.
Right.
And I have seen, self-appointed, guardians of the race saying that he's just making all that up. The strategy is that, well, it's more complicated than that. But of course, nobody ever explains the nature of the complexity. But obviously there's...
Hold on, and real quick, I'll be forgetting. D-Rock Dan send the Cash App pretty much every time I'm on the air. So shout out to D-Rock Dan. Appreciate you for sending Cash App. He says, "I'm from the hood. I just act this way." I don't know what he's talking about. Shout out to D-Rock Dan in the building. And also shout out to, don't want to say your government name, Rob. I'll say Rob Wick. Rob Wick 90. I think that'll... Anyway, send a $20 Cash App. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, back on to the not so beautiful. I normally say not so beautiful bean footage. Normally when I roll footage, it's some not so beautiful bean footage. This is actually some beautiful bean footage, so I can't even say not so beautiful bean footage, but we about to roll through it. Probably gonna roll it all the way through.
That's there. And it's not as if black men in the United States started in the century are the only people who became dominated by that idea. You can see that in the history of many people, including the Irish, including Italians. You can see it in people other than black people today.
Good point,
but
John.
It is a problem. And I find it highly likely that an awful lot of black people deep down like it. They think of it as swagger. They think of it as our way of dealing with a bad hand. And unfortunately, that thing gets a lot of people killed. And that kind of person hears me say that and they jump and say, the person didn't deserve to die. We agree, folks. I thought, I'm human. I know the person shouldn't have died. But the point is, if only he hadn't resisted, he would still be alive. But there's no room for that point. We are in such a fucked up place here in 2021 about race. Worse in many ways than it's ever been, because so much of this stuff is based on lies and self-indulgence masquerading as science and morality. And I am genuinely frustrated this month in particular, because it's beginning to be clear to me that we can call this a conversation. And we're heard, and we're not being muzzled. It's not that anybody's keeping us from saying what we're saying, nothing of the sort. But what we're saying is always going to be kind of a minority taste. We're heterodox. It's not going to be what the people out there are thinking. It's not going to stop these street protests based on a lie. Maybe that's as good as it gets. Maybe we're expecting too much. We are heard, and I'm very gratified by it, by a great many people, and it is not just white conservatives. That every time you have this mob out on the street and the New York Times writing the usual piece, I just think to myself, this is never going to change. It hasn't changed since Rodney King, and here we are. Rodney King certainly didn't that. That was a travesty. But it hasn't changed since the early 90s. And I think we just have to be satisfied with it being the way it is here. But sometimes I just wonder, we heterodox people sitting around and clinking glasses and knowing that we're right doesn't serve the purposes of the community.
What was that word that he said? Heterodox people?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know.
Anybody know?
Can you repeat that?
Y'all know what heterodox people is?
I think it's when a straight person docks you. I don't know what that I don't know what that is.
When one
learn something new every day.
Give it or whatever.
That's what a straight person docs you. That is so funny.
A gay person, man, they got heterodox.
Man, I don't want to sound like the uppy asshole, but like, man, I never heard that word before, and I went to good institutions, so man, damn.
Yeah, me either. The dude is, hey, that's Harvard for you. I don't know what that is. Yeah.
All right, we rolling it.
And if these riots are going to keep happening, the fact that you and me and Coleman and people like that can go have dinner somewhere and tell our war stories, it doesn't help anything. I'm improvising here, but just what is the point of this public intellectual post? I sometimes wonder, and I think I'm just getting a little impatient. Things happen slowly. But
okay, one thing that he's discounting is the power of media. He's talking about a post and writing. No, building a YouTube platform where you talk about it, and that platform get to the point to where it goes from getting hundreds to thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, to millions of views. I think you can influence a culture in the way that people think about things. So that's one thing that he's discounting. But if the ideas that they're talking about only circulate around the heterodox community, then yeah, it's not going to get any traction if it's just a bunch of people preaching to the choir, circle jerking each other. It's about getting it out to the masses. But anyway.
But in this case, I'm not sure the needle is budging at all. About last spring, George Floyd, and think about now. I don't know that anything's budged except that you and I are heard by a few more people. And I'm so happy that we're being heard, but still, maybe I just need to be more patient.
That was a good video. Good video, very related to the topic, to the subject today. Obsidian, you passionately requested from the chat room that I played that. If you want to come up and give your if you want to come up and have some words on that, by all means, come up. I think wait a minute. I tried to put the link in the chat for you. I don't think I did it. No, I put a YouTube. Okay, I didn't do that right. I did not do that right. My bad. Here it is. I tried to put the link in the chat with your name next to it, but I put a YouTube channel of this link in the chat. So I did that incorrectly. So let me correctly do that. That link is in there for you, Obsidian. I might be wrapping up soon, but I would love to hear your thoughts, commentary on everything we talked about thus far here today, as well as the link that you suggested that the not so beautiful being footage that you suggested that I roll. People still dropping a definition for heterodox, but the link is in the chat for Obsidian. But we can kick it around a little bit more on this topic. So go ahead, whoever want it can go ahead and take it.
Well, I think this is all my fault in the first place that we have to watch the video. So I just want to make it clear again that I'm not suggesting that I did a poor job at explaining myself. I did more rambling than actually making an articulate point. That's my fault. But I was trying to just share, I guess, a slightly different perspective that I personally have. But I was not trying to glorify this shit. And I definitely was not trying to just say, like, if you're a nerd, it's a bad thing or anything like that. So I just want to clarify that, since I'm
that's your inner commie coming out. That's all. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. You're the resident commie, and we good with it. We accept you for who you are. No judgment. All right, go ahead. Whoever else wanted to get in here.
The revolution on YouTube.
Well, like I was saying before, is this whole nerd and swag dynamic that Glenn Smith was showing in his show is like basically you need a war story to be taken seriously as a man in this country, and like it or not, black men, our only war story we get is from the hood. If you can survive bullets, gunshots, and all that good stuff, you can either rap about it, you can talk about it in your MVP speech, you can probably be used for it and be a background extra in one of these hood movies or TV shows. Yeah.
Can I say something, Bernard?
Yeah, go ahead.
Isn't that what they're doing? Is they're not deteriorating away from where they came from in the experience?
What do you mean deteriorating away from where they came from?
Like,
Profiting off a bad experience.
No, I
say
don't
that
think
again.
that's what
I didn't hear him. Can you say that again?
They want to profit from going through a so quote unquote bad experience, a rags to riches story, to be more impressionable to people that has low vibrational mindsets that they can do it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's all. When I said deteriorate, I was just saying, like, you know, they don't want to leave where they came from and just want to show it love. That's what I was trying to say, Bernard.
Just like the black folks from slavery, when they talk about we came from this plantation, or act like you too good for your bridges and all that good crap. Yep.
That's true. That's true. I agree with that.
But I think that like the best thing you could do for your hood is to, in a sense, stay out of it as much as you can and show yourself as a example of what you can be if you study, go to college, go to trade school, or what have you, just to get out of that area. I mean, I'm not saying like don't go back, but I'm saying don't go back to shoot dice. I mean, like go there and like maybe like provide training or speak on your experiences to the younger people or even older people who are willing to listen and figure out what they can do to get out of their situation. So it's like, yeah, it's like you don't need to like leave the hood, but like if you're coming back just to like hang out on the block, because like that's stupid.
Can I like Hassan Campbell, bro. To take it back to the original topic, that's what it sounded like Hassan Campbell was talking about. Would he go back to the hood for draped in gold chains just to stunt and floss and be like, yeah, I'm still hood, even though, you know, he mid 40s or probably closing in on 50 and got a family, got kids, he's married, got a wife, 2 kids, house dog, pit fence, the whole American dream story, but he still gotta represent, he's still on that, so yeah, that's.
Can I ask a question, Bernard?
Yeah, go ahead.
Will the projects in the hood, will it ever get better, or will it always just be like so much struggle? Like that's what I always see, like it's always been so bad. Like, can it ever get better?
See, but I think the problem in that question, I'm curious what Game Changer going to say about this, but white people don't ask, will the trailer parks get better? They understand it's always going to be some.
The Spanish never asked, do the barrio get better either?
Yeah. Okay.
Going back to what we was talking about when we was talking about Kenyans, how they separated. There's a difference between living in the village and living in the city. The city, I don't know if they're asking, will the village get better? Maybe they are, maybe they're not. But I think the flaw in that question is not whether or not the hood will get better. It's about, if it get better, is it still going to be what we consider the hood? Is it still going to be the ghetto? Are we still going to look at it like that? So I think the question is, will black people at a higher percentage rate stop living like that? But it's always going to be a portion over there. Again, we can't be commies or socialists and we can't be commies or socialists and think that we're going to bring everybody up to the same level. No, the hood will still be the hood.
That's why I agree with what you just said right there, BR. Yeah. That's why I just
the reason why I say that, Bernard, and this is just my personal opinion, if everybody is in a bad environment, why is it never to a point where they all can come together and say, let's make this to a good point. Let's make a change.
Because them the niggas that's creating the bad environment. But go ahead, Game Changer.
Yeah, I think that we don't want it to get better.
Okay.
As long as the collectively, or there's a large portion of black people that don't want it to get better, because what kind of story is that? You want a tragedy to triumph story. You don't want a
rags to riches story.
Exactly. But I mean, if they take your rags away, then what do you have at that point?
No victim story. Nobody wants to listen.
Exactly. So yeah, you take away the bad aspects of the hood, or at least the reputation of the bad aspects of the hood. Then there's no rags to riches. There's no tragedy to triumph. There's no story to tell. You're just a person that grew up and became what you are.
No emotional drama, so no emotional investment. Ergo, they cannot get no excitement or no theatrics displayed in front of them. They need to be entertained 24/7 like children.
Exactly. So they need a story to tell. But also, as far as it getting better, as I understand it, and I'm removed reasonably now. Isn't it all gone? Like, didn't they just like gentrify the hoods and like moved everybody into Section 8 housing in the middle of regular people neighborhoods?
Not here in Chicago. I look, it's the
Wait, hold on,
inverse
wait.
on redlining.
I've always been confused about that. When they gentrify a neighborhood and now the people are being displaced, they technically just go to another hood, correct?
Well, as I understand it, is they give them vouchers to live pretty much anywhere, but they just kind of like scatter into other communities. So even though their hood, they're not surrounded by their own kind, meaning the projects is gone.
No, yeah. So like,
So,
for example,
so you're telling me all the niggas
I
that
don't
was
know.
in the project are just sprinkled around and
I don't know.
yeah.
I'm guessing.
So game changer. So like, for example, like just imagine like there's still places around like Oakland, San Francisco, wherever, but you have a lot of people. Some people I know is like all of a sudden they get like new Section 8 or whatever, and now they're out in Antioch, they're out in Pittsburgh, they're out
that's what I
way
mean.
farther out. So they get them out in the boonies. But then once they start leaving, then they start getting in that area, that original area built up. So yeah, so there's some truth to that. So
Yeah.
you just ended up shifting the whole problem now sort of out of eyesight.
But they're separate. They're not together. Like what I noticed is that they're moving them to Stockton, like you say, Antioch, Richmond. Like they're just moving them away from Oakland because of the high real estate there. Yep. And they're going elsewhere. Now, when they're elsewhere, they're by themselves and they really can't claim a set because they just got kicked off of that set, literally. So they're just like elsewhere in the middle of somebody else's neighborhood that already existed. That's what I noticed. It seemed like it's already being dispersed.
Oh yeah, it's been going on forever.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
All right. Well, here in Chicago, we ain't had the projects. We still got some project places here in Chicago, but majority of Chicago had projects that have been torn down in the last 20 years. What has happened is that they had gave them same people that lived in them projects and surrounding areas of the projects Section 8 housing vouchers. These people have went into other gang-infested neighborhoods after leaving their own in the suburbs. 20 years later, the suburbs of Chicago and all the parts of Chicago, like I said, the same place Barack Obama has his house at is now considered a gang-infested area. So yeah, and they relabel it and call it mixed income. So people that has Section 8, they can live right next to a person that's making $100,000 a year, despite they only making $35,000 a year for gentrification reasons.
Yep, like hell, speaking of Chicago, I'm in Chicago now. This was like right around the time I first came. There was somewhere in the north where I was walking around and it was pretty like upscale, and all of a sudden it's like, what the hell is this? You still had like a few obvious projects.
Cabrini Green,
places, huh?
Cabrini Green, bro. River North.
Yeah, it was a little bit up north, but not by Cabrini Green, but it was close. But I was like, damn. But yeah, it's the whole move. Yeah, get people out of those potentially prime real estate areas, get them out to the suburbs or just out in the middle of nowhere.
Hey, I'll give you another one. 35th Street, right near State. They used to be Robert Taylor homes. Now they got the condos, Starbucks, Jimmy John's, white people walking around with their dogs. But 25 years before that, you seen crack needles, gangbangers, and all that stuff in that same spot. No lie.
All right.
Yeah, they're spreading it out. But yeah.
Sweet Melody Speaks in the building with the $10 super chat. Appreciate you very much.
That picture look good too, by the way. Sweet Melody, damn.
She do look good in that picture. She do look good.
Okay, I think she got an Instagram. I can go and slide in the DM. If that's what you do. If that's what you do. So shout out to Melody though. She says, Peace Bernard. Panel and chat. Rocco Killer in the building says hood culture is extremely profitable. Pain equals profit. And we also got Zero in here on some bullshit. I just went, I didn't even read it yet. Zero says, don't forget your hoodie when you leave the crib. See, Zero trolling. And shout out to Kev 504. Some of these ideas of the hood are amazing. Shaking my head. Shout out to each and every one of you who super chatted. Melody be thirst trapping on the ground. Yeah. Yeah, perhaps. But go on and drop your OnlyFans. I mean your Instagram, Melody. You could drop your Instagram. Anyway. Shout out. Shoot. Damn it, I know I saw another one. All right, we about to wrap this bad boy up pretty soon. If anybody else you got some closing thoughts. You can go ahead and get out your closing thoughts. Anybody? I guess we'll go around. I normally don't do this. She's denying the charge that she's a thirst trapper. Okay. Sincere cracking up. Go ahead. You got do your final words. We'll go in order and work our way to Game Changer and then be out of here.
I just appreciate y'all letting me get my opinion off. And that's basically it, man. I just wanted to chime in, man, and give my opinion on how I view things.
All right, right on. Appreciate you coming through and giving your thoughts. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. All right, go ahead, Mr. O. You got the flow. You got the mic. Mr. O going one.
I'll talk about that, man. I was seeing Hassan Campbell in the damn chat, and I was just tweaking.
You saw Hassan Campbell in the chat?
Yeah, yes, we have Hassan Campbell in the chat.
Okay, that's what's up.
Yep, he asking where y'all at and everything. I was just sitting here smoking on a blunt, trying to think of something slick to say. But anyway, back to what we was talking about, gentrification. What else we was talking about beyond?
Is that actually him for real?
Yes, that's him. Yeah, that's him.
Actually click on it because people be making names like that to do a channel.
Why would somebody want to be Hassan Campbell? Even what? Hassan Campbell don't want to be Hassan Campbell.
Whoa, what you doing? Why you say even Hassan Campbell don't want to be Hassan Campbell?
I was just joking. My bad.
No, this was no attack stream. We attacked the ideas. I always say attack the ideas and not people. We was breaking down the ideas and the things that was being said. Don't make it seem like this wasn't no personal attack.
I was joking, Hassan. I was joking. I've been following him for years though. I'm just joking. When I follow his channel too though. That's why I was just saying that. What I was saying.
Yeah. All right, you got your last words in. Yeah, we don't just attack, but we did talk about the idea, the notion that people successful make it out the hood, but still want to be attached to it, want to cling to it, want the street cred, even though they ain't currently doing street stuff. And they want to look like the streets, even though they currently not street. We did break down those ideas. Predicated off a conversation that Hassan Campbell had with Kwame Brown. When Kwame Brown was talking about him wearing the gold chains and this or that or all of that, but going back into the hood, risking it all, trying to wear all the gold chains, going back into the hood. Somebody pull up on you and all of that. You may have to shoot somebody try to rob you. You're doing all that. Ain't got a family and got all that. It's so we broke down the ideas and the concepts of that. Just I'm saying all of that just if that's actually him, just to give him context of what the conversation was about. Just giving him context of what the conversation was about. We did break that down. Go ahead, number 16. You got the flow. You got the mic.
All right. Yeah. Thanks for having me on. Yeah. My last thoughts. Yeah. If you can get out the hood, get out, stay out, and just what is it? Yes. Stay the hell out. Yeah. That's about it, man.
Right on. Good stuff. The pioneer, you said that a few times. Sound like you're new here. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. We have good, productive conversations over here that every now and then to get a little wild, turn into a shootout, but it ain't turn into a shootout today. But subscribe if you're new here. Uncle Ruckus, the commie in the building. Go ahead. You got the flow. You got the mic.
Yes, sir. So I actually was off a little. I was on a call real quick, so I don't know what I missed, but I'm guessing this is last thoughts, right?
Yeah, these are final thoughts.
Yeah. final thoughts is final thoughts. Don't be that dude. don't be like Hassan. How about that? Don't and even if it's not, even if just don't make yourself a target. I think that's really what it comes down to. Don't make yourself a target. Like I said, here in Atlanta, you see this a lot, and it makes me sad all the time when I'm seeing all these brothers, with 20 chains on their necks and whatnot, and they're just roaming around the hood, and it's like, bro, you're just making yourself a target, man. So yeah, that would be my only thoughts here. Is just don't make yourself a target. There's nothing to glorify. We should be more embarrassed about a lot of the bullshit that goes on in the hood than glorifying it. So that would be my final thoughts on that. I already said earlier that I did a poor job at articulating my point anyway, so I don't want to go back and forth on that part. But yeah, that's all I got to say on that.
Right on. And Melody, this one will be left up. I'm going to start taking the lives down a little more because I'm going to start doing more pre-recorded stuff. So the pre-recorded stuff will stay up. The clean stuff will stay up. The dirty stuff will get taken down. But lately, I've just been leaving almost everything up. But this one will definitely be up. Zero says, great topic, would have been cool to talk about. He says, great topic, would have been cool to talk about. We talked about it at the beginning. Cut it out, Zero. Quit trolling. All right, go ahead, Game Changer. You got the floor. You got the mic.
Okay, thanks a lot. So, yeah, because due to unfortunate history in this country, Black people have, like we do with everything, and it's a coping mechanism. It's nothing really wrong with it. We made the best out of a bad situation, and part of our embracing poverty or embracing hood culture or glorifying it is similar to what we did with chitlins. We made it taste good.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it comes to the point where you just gotta stop eating chitlins. You just got to. Like it's not good for you, and you got to move past that. Yes, I know it's part of the culture, part of the history, but you got to move past that. So is poverty. Now, I'm not saying don't be poor. I'm not saying that at all, but I'm saying do not embrace a culture that was derived out of necessity in poverty, or else you will be eternally a victim of it. So yeah, that's my final thoughts. I want to say that because you say that they're not sending out my link, so I'm going live in about 45 or 40 minutes. So, yeah, it's going to, so those of you who aren't getting notifications, just know it's going to be in like 40 minutes.
All right. Gotta be on the lookout for Game Changer going live. I'm actually trying to drop his link in there one last time as we get up out of here. Shout out to the Pioneer. Thank you for subscribing. Glad you're new here and glad you enjoyed the channel. Thank you very much for subscribing and dropping that super chat. Appreciate you. And with that said, we are out of here. Peace.